Evening, folks.
Howdy, howdy.
Howdy, howdy.
That's Baron, and I'm not.
Yep. Yeah. So we have one new person here in the chat. Valence, hi. I'm Baron. This is Kieradwin. He basically co-hosts the stream. It's usually every other Saturday, but for the last few weeks and for at least one more week, we're doing this every
Saturday. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So fun. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So see that we have at least one new person.
Yeah. Valence.
Valence, welcome. Say welcome to the show. If anybody else is new,
chime in.
Yeah. Say hi. We'll say hi right back at you because that's what we do.
Yeah, we're working things out with Jaya.
Yep. Yeah, and again, last week we had Jeff Braunschweiber as a special guest. He is the president of the Board of Trustees of the Triton Museum of Fine Arts in Santa Clara, and is a very accomplished painter in the proper Egyptian tomb art style from 5,000 years ago. He did a really nice demo on Baron's DA page. You can go see the results.
Yeah. Well, by the way, Ari, I'll be sending it this next week.
Excellent. Yep. And next week we're having Jaya King, who works in as a guest, who works in a medium called encaustics. It involves beeswax pigments and blowtorches.
Torches, yes, folks.
Right. Yeah, and this is going to be in addition to Baron doing what Baron normally does.
Yep.
Actually, they're going to be doing a collaboration.
Yeah, in fact, that's part of the thing. I need to get some artwork to her. We're going to be doing a collaboration work where I'm going to do the initial drawing, and then she's going to develop the encaustics on top of it. So I need to get the artwork to her in advance, actually.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so again, we'll put up a link to her. It's called the Joker process. She did the most gorgeous picture of it's a portrait of the Heath Ledger Joker, that I've ever seen. It was fantastic.
And the funny thing is, she's going, I didn't think I'd be a thing to do superheroes. I'm going, Jaya.
It's perfect for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and although Jaya does have one slight issue with MLP. She thinks that Luna is best princess. Yes. I understand there are people with this defect out there. We don't hold it against you. You lunatics. We don't hold it against you.
Just one thing. Ari, I'll be sending it to you. Like I said, I got a whole bunch of stuff that's getting squared away. It's going out Patreon next week. Basically, if anything I've been back scheduled on for Patreon, because I've been knocking out a whole bunch of commission stuff or getting some other stuff that you guys haven't seen, but it's behind the scenes stuff. This next week, it's all getting cleared off, and all Patreon will be caught up to date.
Outstanding, yeah.
That's part of the reason we're doing tonight. Tonight's going to be basically taking our Patreon rewards.
Oh, poor Mad Badger. It's obviously you need a drink. You know who else needs a drink?
I need a drink.
You need a drink. Yeah. Anybody newly arrived there? We always start the show with
brain lubricant.
Brain lubricant. Yeah. So I am the local bartender here. So balance those.
Now you have an argument there that Big Mac is best princess.
Okay, I will grant that as a partial. Right, so this week we are doing the same thing we did a few weeks ago, which was the vodka gimlet.
It's tasty.
It is. It's a very simple cocktail. Just need some ice to make it cold. And it's vodka, simple syrup, which is basically sugar dissolved in water, and lime juice. That's it. Very simple, extremely tasty and refreshing. So, all right.
The instrument.
So what you do is you take your lime.
And you don't cut your leg off.
So you cut your leg off.
I thought we had grenadine for that.
Yeah, well, there we go. Yeah, grenadine. And you take a lime and you squoze it.
Yes, it does, Auntie. It cuts down the sound of grinding gears.
Yeah, it does. And
it helps fight scurvy, too.
Yar. That's why they call Brits limeys, because lime was used by the Brits to combat scurvy. So also the reason why Germans were called krauts, because cabbage has a lot of vitamin C as well, and they served their guys sauerkraut.
In fact, the gin gimlet was originally a beverage.
Medicine.
It was put together by the ship's surgeon if you had scurvy or needed other things. No, I don't, Ari.
Just a little bit of a simple syrup. You can make your own. This is basically 1 cup of sugar, 1 cup of water. Boil the water, throw the sugar in, let it dissolve, and put it in a bottle.
Yep. But like I said, if you had scurvy or you had some other ailment and that the surgeon thought this would help, he'd make you up a gin gimlet.
Yep.
We're just
Indeed.
playing vodka instead.
All right. And you take that, and then you go.
Hey, Rebel.
So until you outside gets nice and frosty.
Yeah, it gets cold and you don't want to hang on to it anymore.
Break the vacuum seal. Pour it all over Baron. There we go.
Ta-ta.
Presented for your approval. Now you can very
Nice and cold.
Yep. Again, you want it ice cold. Again, juice of a lime, about a little more than half of a shot of simple syrup. Some people like it sweeter, and about a shot and a half of vodka. So the ratio is 1 to 1 to 3 when it comes down to it. So, Baron is ready to go.
What am I good? It's vitamin C. It's good for me.
Damn right.
That's right. Okay, now you guys didn't come here to actually watch me drink.
Well, some of you did.
You came here for art.
Indeed. And we got some of that. We got some of that right here.
Yes, we do.
We got that, and let me go. Boop, there we go.
All right.
This was from last week.
That's right. The last hour of Jeff's stream, I decided to join him and do it. We did dual cam thing. And while he was still finishing up his Egyptian Book of the Dead piece, I decided I was going to draw a picture of the Sphinx from Daring Dunn.
Exactly. I mean, it was, after all, Egyptian themed.
Yes, it was.
All right. And if you're going to do the, let's say, the quadruped version, well, you also have to do the...
And, you know, apparently several people were kind of hoping I was going to do an anthro version of her, and I did. It went up on my Smudge Marks Ingleworks eShop yesterday and is now promptly gone.
Lasted about a minute, yeah. All right. So, so sticking with
Eight or nothing.
Howdy. My shirt thanks you. So we also have Raripunk and Sweetie Base.
Yeah, well, you know, I did do that picture of Rarity, you know, Punk Rarity on the stream here during a request, and then the next day I did an anthro version of her, and then I realized, you know, Rarity has shown some expertise with the guitar.
Oh yeah, she's shredded more than once.
Right, so I figured, you know, that whole world I had where the CMC formed this band called Flying Fingers, I could see maybe Rare Punk, you know,
special guest star.
stopping by for
kind of like Aldo
jam.
Nova would stop in with Blue Oyster Cult once in a while.
Exactly, and we'd basically do a jam.
All right, now, of course, you know how you get all this artwork right? Practice.
Yes. This is from my Quester Dreamscape, and this is Blood Feather, and she's one of Celestia's mares in waiting. And she, along with Phoenix and Quicksilver, are tracking down, trying to figure out what was the people who basically gave that one Griffin the wards that were able to break into Celestia's office, and in the process, Phoenix discovered something else very, very nasty, and they're tracking it all down. It's getting more and more convoluted.
Tracking it down. Speaking of which, someone is not impressed.
Yeah, Quicksilver is if you basically took Maud Pie and then put her in the role of the main protagonist from La Femme Nikita.
Yeah.
That's what you'd get.
Yeah, she's yeah, she won't worry too much about cleaning up the mess. She has others for that. I'm a cleaner.
Yes.
I'm here to clean up your
mess.
Yeah, okay.
My name is Victor.
Right. So anyway, going the other direction from again, this particular character is a bartender at a meeting place of those who are not cooperative with the crown. And yeah,
Busted Bottle. is his
exactly,
name.
busted bottle.
And now he's busted.
Exactly. You know, it's like something as simple as a blunderbuss does not do anything to one of Celestia's
Mares in waiting.
Indeed. All right.
And a scale bearer. And you guys will find out what scale bearer means in the near future.
So we also have, well, hello.
Not one of Celestia's mares in waiting, but, you know, quite attractive. Well, earlier in the year, was it this year or last year? I think it was in the last 12 months, I did some sketches of an anthro starlight glimmer, and one of them was a pose of her, in that rare fetching outfit. I can imagine it being like, her trying out something for Trixie's magician's assistant.
Yeah, patina. But of course it.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Well, she had a vested interest.
Mm-hmm. And
took a moment. Took a moment.
You tied it all together so nicely.
Indeed.
But I decided, since I finished up a commission for somebody and I had a couple days spare time, darn it, I was going to do something kind of for myself. One of the things about being a professional is you spend most of your time doing things for your clients and your client base, and just saying, I'm going to sit down and do something for the heck of it is not as common of a thing anymore. So this was kind of cool. I was able to knock it out in about a day and a quarter. And I'll probably be putting this also up on the Smudge Marks Engleworks eShop for sale. And I'm going to throw the question out right now to my audience. If prints were made of this, would this be something that people might buy prints of?
We will find out shortly.
Mm-hmm.
In the meantime, today's theme song is "If You Knew Sushi Like I Knew Sushi."
Yes. And this was a
This is actually safe for. This is actually technically safe.
Yes.
Because the only thing I see here is a salmon roll.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So
this is actually kind of a thing in Japan, where they will have a lovely young lady who will stretch out, and the sushi will be placed ever so carefully, because presentation is important. And then you will have your sushi off of the lovely young lady on the table.
Yes,
it's kind of
it's kind of thing for tourists.
It is.
Yeah, it's not traditional.
But right up there with like fugu and other things.
Yeah.
It's a delicacy. That means we don't eat it, but we overcharge you for it.
Exactly. So this was a commission. He's not in the chat at the moment. At least I don't see Journey's name there. But this was a commission that Journey had me do, and anthro sharks, not usually my thing.
But you did it just fine.
I did. Yeah. I had nothing against it, so I tackled the project, and it came out very well. I'm very happy that people love the little plushy shark on her foot. I can't remember why I threw that in there, but it just seemed like the right thing to do.
There you go.
And it adds certain whimsy to the picture.
Indeed. Yeah, I think part of the challenge here is to prevent the table from eating everything herself.
Also, too, it was kind of fun doing the actual little bits of sushi, especially on the more orangish ones, which I forget which exactly meat that. So it's one of the fatty tunas, I remember. It was kind of interesting getting the little reflection lines where you can see the muscle striations in the flesh.
Yeah, exactly. And you pulled it off there.
Yep.
Very, very nice. All right. So that's what Baron has been up to for the past week.
Yeah.
Because you got to keep an eye on this guy. I mean,
Hey.
You can do that on DeviantArt and Twitter. What you doing now?
Well, like I say, this next week is going to be all Patreon all the time, getting caught up on all my backlog on Patreon. And I'm going to be doing that tonight, too. So I'm going to be working on folks' Patreon rewards, and I'm going to do some folks that, I don't think I've done a Patreon reward for them on the stream in quite some time. And the first one up is going to be Mad Badger.
There you are right there.
Yeah.
I see you. I see you.
So...
All right, so let's go ahead and get set up for that.
Since there might have been some lag, I'm going to make sure that he heard that. Mad Badger, you're up first for... I didn't yank anything important, did I?
Nah.
Okay.
Wait.
It'd be really, really silly if I unplugged. Yeah. We're now experiencing technical difficulties. Please
Technical
stand by.
difficulties, yeah.
All right. So, let's get our board over here.
Yeah.
And let's change our glasses. Haha, you guys can't yell at me. By the way, new people... I have to change my glasses, so if I don't change my glasses to my desk glasses, you do have the permission to
Nag.
Exactly.
Yell at.
So,
there we go. I'm going to go over here.
Right, sounds like a good idea.
Let's see. Is that the right one?
Pop. And we're going to go to... And we're going to go blah, 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 blah.
Do a little bit of live surgery here.
Live surgery?
It's not seeing the one camera, but let's see if it just got moved off the screen. All right, so let's see.
And at least it sees the main camera.
Yep.
And
Let's
it
try
sees me.
that. Nope, that ain't it.
That ain't it? All
That
right.
ain't it. Okay, so I'll just do this now. I'll go over here and I'll say, there we go. Aha!
Now, what Mad Badger wanted me to do is a sketch of one of his characters, Cadvel, and when he was a colt, and he had just become part of Luna's little entourage, and he's gotten some armor, and he has to learn how to take care of it.
Diddly doodly. Hey, actually, Frank has a question. Progress on the life-size patina daki.
Yes, I need to. I am at the moment working out, because I don't think my digital color skills are quite up to the task to my satisfaction. So I am looking and talking with a couple of possible digital artists to take care of the color part of it so that the color will be as good as my line work is. And hopefully we'll have an answer by the end of the year on that.
Oh, by the way, Mr. McClaw, Baron's drawing glasses have the dark, the black frames.
Mm-hmm.
His street glasses have sort of a silvery frame.
And also, too, they have rounded lenses instead of these kind of square ones. That's actually the way I kind of remember, because I can feel it and I put my hand and go, oh, yeah.
Yep. Well, actually, what would be kind of fun would be a patina, life-size patina airline pillow. One of the horseshoe-shaped
Mm-hmm.
buckwheat pillows.
Of course, it'd be very interesting to be flying with that.
Yeah.
Everyone else on the plane going,
So again, it's what you can get away with.
Yeah. And basically kind of helping out Cadfell here is one of Luna's guards, and she is a bat mare.
No.
Bat mare. And she's kind of playing big sister.
MLP Fridge Logic. Does the episode A Health of Information mean that there are still ponies trapped in tree form scattered throughout the Everfree Forest that remain unrescued? I would imagine that might be one of the reasons why it's feared.
Yeah.
There's probably a few statues out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Everfree Forest, it's a little bit tamer than it used to be, so perhaps, but it's still a dangerous place for ponies who are poorly prepared to prosper, in such pioneering.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, later on there might be a larger patina daki.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see what people think of that. I mean, nobody here would want a patina pony life size.
Or a rosemary.
No.
No, I think
that would be one overstuffed pillow.
Yeah, I don't think they would be interested in a rosemary docky.
I'm really surprised that nobody has made a docky pillowcase that has like 2 auxiliary sleeves for headrests that you would slip additional pillows into. I'm very surprised. Get on it, Japan.
Am I thinking of doing any extra cons next year? Well, I would like to go back up to Everfree Northwest. It is a wonderful convention, and there's some really great people up there. It's all going to be a matter of the money. Now, I am planning to do EQLA, which I wasn't originally intending to, but especially since it's the last one, I'm going to be going down to wish it goodbye.
See you later, Balance.
Hope you can visit us again. We do this every other Saturday. Even though we'll be doing it again next Saturday, too. And we're here until 9:30. Yeah, unfortunately, we have quite a few of the mid-sized conventions that are dropping by the wayside.
Unfortunately, some of them are the good ones.
Yeah.
I've heard that Nightmare Nights isn't going to repeat, and Nightmare Nights is one of my favorites.
Yeah. So right now I'm just very quickly just getting the two characters kind of quickly blocked into place. You know, where their rib cages are going to be, where their joints are.
Yeah, I've heard the Vegas Con. They know very well what their a millstone around the neck, a previous Las Vegas Con place there. Mm-hmm. It's different people.
Yep.
They're paying everybody. Everybody in question is being paid in advance. You know, all the special VIPs. You know, they're getting, all of the hotel rooms are confirmed and prepaid, etc., etc.
Yeah, Colt, I got my membership for BabsCon too, so hope I can get a chance to see you next year.
Sonny, we're past peak pony, I think. Fans leave. Well, there's other things that some people just want to move on to. It's been 7 years. God, what a ride.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Jenny says she loves I'm assuming she, loving the sketch setup so far. Who are these characters going to be?
Well, this character here is going to be Mad Badger's character right here. And then this is a Batmare of my own design. Talking about horse part markings and such.
Well, there's not a lot of ponies in the show that have proper equine horse markings. In fact, I can only think of 2 off the top of my head.
Sunburst being one of them, and it being Troubleshoes.
Right, that's the only 2 I can think of.
In fact, that was one of the things when I first saw Sunburst I thought was really kind of cool about the character. I was like, oh, hey, this is neat.
Actually, I think I'm going to turn off the air conditioner because I think we can get by without it.
Yeah, I think we might just turn on occasionally, but I think at the moment we can get
Yeah. Click.
It's going to be that time of the year, especially now, once the sun goes down, it's getting a lot cooler, a lot quicker around here. In fact, this is the first night in quite a while I've brought a jacket.
Indeed. Yeah, although occasionally we still get warm weekends, and we're going to get them for a while. That's just California. We get 2 summers with a kind of summer in between. But still convertible weather.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Sonny, we have at least season 8.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact is, as long as it's making money, good money, Hasbro is going to keep doing it because that's the business that they're in.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys keep buying, official MLP merch, particularly stuff, that you can buy in like a retail store.
Mm-hmm.
Keep watching the show through, some sort of, means, either on
Netflix or Discovery Family.
This Netflix, Discovery Family, iTunes. I don't know if Google has it now. I think they do. Go see the movie in the theater. Somebody actually put up a little poster. Oh, there's no MLP movie in my movie theater in my area. Well, if you have the extra bucks, you can buy an online ticket anyway, and then maybe donate it or something.
Mm-hmm.
But again, make Hasbro and their stockholders happy that they are they're doing Pwn. It's great to be a fan. It's even better, to be a fan who actually helps support the creation of this stuff, because the show is probably costing, I'm going to guess, $1.5 to $2 million per episode.
Mm-hmm.
We need to make sure that that Hasbro sees at least $2 or $3 million per episode as a thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Caribou, we've been involved in the community for 30 years.
1983.
1989.
Yeah, so that would be, oh God.
Yeah. I'm coming up on my 30th year.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, everybody say happy birthday, Baron.
Thanks, guys. But actually, I want to take a moment and thank everyone over the last week who has basically, sent me my happy birthday wishes and, wished me many, many more. It actually does mean something, guys. It does. It's nice. Social media is very, very important for me now because I don't have a day job anymore. This is what I do for a living. So I communicate with people through the screen.
Yeah. A side thing, again, no MLP movie discussion, please.
Those folks haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, well, and that's going to be true for a while. Again, you may see characters from from the movies showing up in Baron's art. That's not really a spoiler because that's been out there for months. But discussions of the plot, story, let's keep those to ourselves at least for a little while.
And since I know people are interested, yes, I will be posting my review at some point in the future.
Maybe a month or so.
Yeah, well, I need to write it proper and get it edited and everything. That's one where it's going to get some proper editing. Because I'm going to do my equivalent of DWK here and do some analysis. Thank you, Carolyn.
Yeah. So basically, again, last week's episode, this week's episode, all of the leaked episodes. God, good going, Hasbro, and the movie are embargoed.
Yeah.
So fun. It's a happy day of birth recognition to you.
Get short up that hoof there. There we go, like that. Alrighty. Put her in.
What is this moon runes I am hearing in the background? I am playing with the keyboard.
Pop out of the pound cake. Blink. It's something a patina would do.
And folks, if you can let me know if there is, if the background music is too loud or too soft. I know that the synthesizer, this thing. Well, let's see, where's the camera? Yeah, there. The keyboard on top is, is put in directly through the board. The one on the bottom, we have to rely on the mics to pick it up. That's
Yay!
Yeah. That's the thing, Pink Pony. What is a furry? There is no one definition. It's everything from fursuiters to fans of Disney animation to that's one sexy fox. To whatever. It's big enough and it's been around for 30, 35 years as an organized fandom. It's like saying, what does it mean to be Chinese? What does it mean to be American?
What does it mean to be an anime fan, even?
Yeah, exactly. It's too diverse to have a single label. So again, there's some aspects of it that get the press. They're not universal. Yeah. I can hear a woman's voice in the background. That's the voices in your head, Ligodo. There's.
Unless it's Patina talking to you. Would there be a voice in your head still?
As a kid, I was terrified of mascots. Well, they can be kind of creepy. Giant, misshapen, hypercephalic monsters. With those who, without spoiler information, would people who have seen the MLP movie recommend it? Yes. Yes. I mean, the reviews that I've read, some people have liked some aspects and disliked others. Then one review later, exactly reverse it. I liked B but didn't care for A. Well, I liked A but didn't care for B. There is, so whatever your focus on the show is, there's something for you there.
Yeah, I mean, it's very much kind of like what Quibble Pants was realizing at the end of the Stranger Than Fan Fiction. There are all kinds of different reasons why we are here.
The way Cara Dune said, sexy fox was frightening. Oh, as well it should be. Indeed it should. Let's see. Pinky. Let's see. In fact, I'm going to do this.
Oh, we also need to do our hourly thing.
Sorry, Pinky. Yeah. So, yeah. Let's see. Well, again, Pinky, that a Pink Pony. That's generalizing. Say from a few high-profile examples.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Dragonfire.
Yep.
Are you new here? If you are, welcome to the stream. If you are not, welcome back.
We love you anyway. Yeah. So
Pull up a seat.
Yeah, indeed. So we're here for the next few hours, until 9:30 Pacific, which is 3.5 hours from now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes. No, actually, Foxfire, you should have an unhealthy one. They're more fun. Yeah. Lurker coming into the light.
Ah.
Do not meddle in the affairs of Carduin, for you are crunchy and taste very, very good with balsamic vinegar glaze.
Ooh, that does sound good.
Yeah, actually, dinner tonight is Brian's doing steaks sous vide style.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's going to be tasty.
Yep. And Jorge reminds us all that Peter New had a donation stream. I think it was Puerto Rico Relief
And Vegas, both.
and victims of the problem that happened in Las Vegas.
Which, just for newcomers, this is a political-free zone. There's more than enough places in the world where we can get our load of roughage.
Yeah, indeed.
But we should do our hourly duty.
We should.
Duty.
Duty. Okay, so if I go down to here and I click that and I click that, we see that we have to say and want to say thank you to our sponsor, which is University Art. University Art is a high-end art supplies, art instruction, and framing store that has offices in San Jose and Sacramento and Redwood City, California. They actually were where Baron worked for 20 years until he took the plunge and decided to become a full-time
professional artist.
Their framing shop is fantastic. They do, again, museum quality framing, which means, acid-free materials. Everything is sealed correctly. They will protect your artwork for 100 years or more, literally. Mm-hmm. They have handled original Nobel Prizes, prize awards. They have handled original Rembrandts,
original Albert Dührs,
Picassos.
Mm-hmm.
Again, they also have a very knowledgeable staff who would be very happy to take a little bit of time to explain why this colored pencil is good for this, but this one is good for this other thing.
Mm-hmm.
They have seminars and workshops and craft fairs and all that good stuff. So,
and next Saturday, October 14th, they are having their one-day sale in all stores. I need to make a big plug for that right now. It's a very important thing. They do it twice a year, and especially for things like framing, I need to double check, but I think custom framing will be 30% off next weekend. You can check the website to confirm that.
Yeah, and given that museum quality framing is
not cheap,
then again, this would be a very good way to save, 25, 30, 40, whatever percent it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So again, once again, thank you to University Art. They sponsor Baron. They keep him well supplied in art supplies, and for that we are grateful. They also occasionally loan us their employees.
Yeah, and occasionally my former employer lurks in the chat. Hi, Mike. Hi, Jeff. And next weekend, we're going to have another former UA employee, Jaya King, on.
Right. Yeah, she's gone full-time as an artist.
Yes, she has, and as a teacher. Yeah. She's teaching in the Sacto area now. Very qualified.
Yeah, Jaya works in a medium called encaustics. If any of you missed it, it's another very old technique. Basically, you melt beeswax, add your pigments, and then you paint with them. But once the beeswax is down and it's hardened, you can use a heat source. She uses a blowtorch, so we get to see her set Baron on fire, to blend and to actually move around, pick up the colors and move them around. Again, you heat it up to the point where you get convection. You get this really interesting modeling effect. And again, Jaya is a fan of that show that we keep talking about. She's going to be doing a collaboration with Baron.
Yep.
So and she makes Pinkie Pie look
Like
positively calm in comparison.
Yeah.
She is energetic.
Yeah, by the way, Mad Badger, yes, that will also be, that one-day sale will be at the Sacramento store as well. So if you go into Sacramento, you can get...
Go get you some.
Yeah, exactly. And they run a good operation up there. Some really first-class people and some excellent artists manning the counters up there. Sacramento has more of an art community than I think a lot of people give it credit.
Well, the thing about the Bay Area is it's expensive to live here, and Sacramento is still within reach of like the San Francisco scene and stuff like that. But it's much less expensive to live there. So yeah, I can see artists on artist salaries, not wanting not wanting to live like artists. They can do that in Sacramento much better.
Actually, Badger, here's a question. Do you need me to fire up and get that piece of the 95th Rifles to you, hopefully before next Saturday, so you can take that into University Art? If so, let me know, and I can get that in the mail first thing next week. Be more than happy to get that in the mail. I know my wife is working on a commission for you, but if you want to get that 95th Rifles into the shop up there in Sacto, let me know, and I'll be more than happy to get that thing expedited your direction. And of course, since this mirror is... Thank you. Yes. Okay, I will make it happen. We will get that to you. I will package it up tomorrow, and I will make arrangements to have Smudge get the shipping, because I got to go to the post office on Monday anyways. I've got a huge number of packages. We put a bunch of new stuff up on the Smudge Marks Ingleworks site and had a whole bunch of sales over the last 24 hours, so I need to get work out to people. I don't have that, like I said, there's lots of things that you can be in a community. I don't have one of the suits because, one, it's just never been my thing. Two, they're expensive.
Yeah, it's never really been my thing myself either. Although oddly, old man story for you.
Oh boy, old man story.
After the big
Senior moment.
Estate, yeah, there you go. Real estate crash. I'm saying, with the great recession, as they call it. So I spent a couple of months, in between. I wasn't hurting, but I was still in between. One of my buddies, Trendane, if you may have heard of her, who does do professional mascot work. I think he's worked for the San Francisco Giants and San Jose Sharks, as well as a bunch of minor league teams.
And the San Jose Earthquakes are a professional soccer team.
Yeah. So he also worked for it was a kids show called Rags Kids Club Band. It was sort of just one of those things for young kids, where everybody's in fursuits and they're a traveling band and they're on PBS on some markets, etc. And they did a traveling show, county fairs and such. Well, one of their guys fell off a stage and broke his leg.
That happens more often than you might think in that line of profession.
Well, again, you can't see, and yeah. And so I got a call from Trendane and said, "You doing anything, next week?" Well, not really. Why? When Trendane asks you if you're not doing anything next week, be cautious. And I say, later on, it says, we need somebody who's at least 6'2" because it's a big suit, and and it's like, you've seen how this stuff goes. Why don't you like to give it a try? Sure. I can say what I want about fursuiting, but until I've actually done it, I'm just talking out my butt. Fine. We'll get. Does it pay? I guess a little bit. So we went down to the Santa Barbara County Fair.
Wow. Okay, you went wise on the road.
Yeah, and in August, on the stage there was no shade, and it was 115 degrees. This was my introduction to it. You know, where we've gone over the routine. You know, they played the audio. It's pre-canned audio, and then you just sort of mime it out and all that stuff there. And oh my God, it was hot. I was sure, I mean really sure, that I was going to pass out on stage and have myself a nice little heat stroke, you know, right there in front of the kids.
And remember that this is the guy like me who in our younger days, we ran around in metal armor and pounded on each other.
We hit each other with sticks.
So, yeah, and he's thinking he's going to be blacking out because, yeah, it is hell inside those suits sometimes, apparently.
Oh, it is. Well, this particular suit had like very poor circulation until I figured out that if I moved my arms in a certain way, let's say the fabric under the arms acted as a bellows and would pump, you know, as air through. And of course, the very last song in the set, it's a half-hour set, is "Paws Up," and it's Pido's song of my character Pido, and I have to put down my ham bone shaped drumstick, so I was fake banging on the drums with, and come up and jump up around in front of kids, paws up, and I'm like, I'm gonna die in a fursuit, and after I made it through the show, you know, and it's again 3 quarts of water, glug 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 glug. I needed all of it. I got acclimatized, you know, after a couple of shows. But sometimes the audio equipment would fail because of the heat. It's like the electronics were giving up when those fools on stage weren't. And so what we would do, they call a meet and greet. You go out, and, you know, you take pictures with the kids and all that. And you wander around and go, oh, thank God, I don't have to. I can be in the shade. And there's the little carnival rides. Where the little tiny roller coasters and all, you know, and all the barkers like, yeah, come on, ride the rides, because then the kids will want to ride it too, but we'll charge them. And
by the way, before it disappears off the screen, Fuya Kumo, I believe that is someone new. I don't think that's somebody we have seen before. Welcome.
Hi.
The guy telling the story about getting heat prostration, that's Carrot One. My name is Baron. I'm the guy drawing. We do this every other week, usually.
He draws, I mash buttons.
He's very good at mashing buttons.
Yeah, I have a hammer just for that. Yeah. So anyway, we would get on the rides. The roller coaster was a favorite because I'd put my hands up, yay! You know, and then the air would go zoom, 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 and it's like, oh, wonderful breeze.
Army.
You know, I'm not going to die for the next 5 minutes. So we did that for a week. You know, they put us up at in a little motel, and you know we had
air conditioning.
With air conditioning, we had our per diem. You know, I had funnel cakes. You know, because you can't go to a fair without having funnel cakes. Yeah, okay. And I can now say, okay, I know what it's like to fursuit. Yeah, it was kind of fun. I'm not eager to repeat it. You know, if not for another reason, I don't want to die. But yeah, it is the people who do it are very dedicated to it. So you know, even if you don't care for it yourself, you have to admire the huge amount of work that goes into it because it's hard. And Colt Concept says, hey, he wants to stop by and just say thanks again for favoriting artwork on DA. Well,
no problem.
Colt, you are absolutely welcome. And show up here more often, please.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Same way with Army of Tomorrow. Thanks, Glad.
Okay, so this guy, so right here, let's see. We have ourselves a spammer. Do not feed the spammer. Let's see. Ban and clear messages.
Yep.
All right. No, that's just a spammer. Again, go ahead.
The cool people are still here.
Yep. Yeah. Again, we have a very strict rule here. Whoop. Did I get the wrong guy?
I think you hit Ari by accident.
Did I hit Ari by? Oh, I'm sorry, Ari, if I did that. Okay, you fine, yes, and Ari, I'm sorry if I missed you. Let's see.
Is this your first time here, Fuya? I'm not certain if I've seen you before.
Yeah, let's see here. I may have to log in as you to clear the ban. Let's see. It should say. Nope. Are you still here, Ari? Because it doesn't show. I might have cleared the message.
You cleared the message. Is what you did. You cleared the message. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry about that, Ari. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. He's a coyote. Yeah, that pretty much does say it all.
It's that Acme mouse. Sorry about that. We accidentally cleared your messages, Ari. We had someone show up who just basically, nope, we dove it.
Yep.
That's all I was going to say. We don't.
It's just a flesh what, Sonny? A flesh what?
Hey, Night Hall.
Indeed. So, all right, but anyway, yeah. So, yeah, that's one thing. It is getting big. It's really big in furry fandom. There are some conventions where at least a third of the people have fursuits, and they are certainly a sight.
Mm-hmm.
They are certainly a sight.
And I will say this much: it requires a lot of commitment. I mean, you can drop $5,000 on a fursuit.
Easily.
Especially if it's got any kind. And that's not including the ones that have like animatronics and additional. It's like, wow, these things are.
Yeah, one of these days, Pinky Irrational is going to have to commission you for a Gina or Brittany sketch. Hello, Mr. Copper.
Hello.
Yeah. Cool as a cucumber. Well, next week's cocktail of the week is going to be a drink called the White Linen because that's what Jaya drinks, and it involves cucumbers.
Yes. In fact,
I'm kind of refreshing.
I'm kind of bummed that it's probably going to work out. I may see if we can swing it. So, because we have 4 cucumbers coming up in our garden right now, and I'm going to try to see if I can hang on to one of them and bring it over here because our sweet burpilus are wonderful cucumbers. I think it actually go very, very good in a white linen.
Well, that's the thing, Mad Badger. One of the attractions of fursuiting is that it lets people who normally are not extroverts be somebody who is.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I don't want to sound condescending, therapeutic, but no, it's refreshing for a lot of people who are not normally social butterflies.
Yep. It was very interesting. I haven't seen him in quite a number of years. Jimmy Chin.
Mm-hmm. He's still around.
He's still around, but it was once again professional.
Yeah.
Definitely he was Lucille for the San Francisco Giants for quite a number of years, and it was very interesting sitting down and talking to him about how the whole. The customs, the mores, you do this, you don't do that, some very interesting features.
Yeah. There's Agni. There's really 2 styles of fursuits. There's mascot style, which is they're easier to make, and that's the one that you see most of, for that exact reason. And they lend themselves to, that fox is lime green, and that wolf is sort of a fuchsia pink.
Kind of like candy-colored ponies.
Then there are the Hollywood style, the snarly werewolves or the stuff with animatronics. I've seen somebody in a World of Warcraft Tauren costume that the feet basically were on 18-inch stilts.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a proper size for a Tauren is supposed to be 8-9 feet tall.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks so good.
What's really impressive is watching someone who has trained and studied in that suit, and they can walk down a hallway and instinctively bow their head to not clip it on low-hanging objects. Go through doorways and everything, and make it look natural.
Yeah. Ari, we had a spammer whose name was alphabetically right next to yours, and I was deleting his messages and accidentally clicked on yours. But yeah, you're back, so
back.
It's all good.
Yeah,
it's just a flesh wound.
Yeah.
Just
You're a coyote. You've had anvils and safes and defective rockets and disintegrator rays.
Generic. Check to see if maybe you have 2 windows open at the same time to the to the channel, because that can give you that exact effect.
Is there any problems with audio?
Well, yeah, static and cycling. Well, basically, it sounds like he's getting 2 audio feeds, which are his computer's trying to mix together mostly.
Oh, yeah, that will end badly.
Yeah.
That will not end well.
Yeah, mascot style suits are inherently cartoonish. Well, that's their whole point. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and as I gotta say, there's this guy that works, occasionally works furry fandom conventions, to the Ranting Griffin.
Yes.
He's a rant comedian, a good one, a little bit raw.
Kind of like DWK.
Yeah, and there was a style of fursuit for a while. Thank God it was only a fad. That you have a little squeaker, squeak, 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 that you would bite down on to make squeaky sounds, and you can get expressive with it and squeeze silly, the idea is to be cute, but usually they're annoying as hell. There was, but there was one fursuiter whose character name I forget. They usually refer to by the character names, who would really just utterly sold it, and and Sue would get the character up on stage and say, "Okay, can you say such and such a character say is an ass, and go squeak 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 squeak, and just again was just cute as a button. Mm-hmm. That one, just the one, and of course all the others were just running around going squeaky 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 like a dog with a squeak toy,
or those little sneakers.
Telephone. That's the character's name. Yes.
Yeah, or those little sneakers that they give kids that have the squeak toys in the heels, so when they run around, they make little squeak noises. Let me tell you, if you're in a retail store operation and a mother comes in with 3 or 4 kids with those, it's suddenly like being stuck on one of those islands with all those little seabirds when they're nesting and they're all going off at once, squeaking and squawking and making noises and defending their territory. You can't hear yourself think.
Exactly.
And we are coming up on 6:30.
Right. Again, for
new folks,
since we have some new folks here, we do take a break every hour on the half hour for 5 minutes. Gives you a chance to go refresh your drink or to be biological and get rid of your previous drink. Also, it's a chance to, very good, River Coon. Squeakers have been banned in the California dealer's room. Yeah, because they were pretty bad. Mm-hmm. But we take this break for 5 minutes, chance to stretch because artists hunched over a board or a drawing tablet or whatever it is, you need to get up and stretch because otherwise a few years from now, you're going to be in pain all the time. Mm-hmm. Don't do it.
I'm a recovering back patient.
And shoulder patient.
And shoulder patient. My life is about management now.
Yeah. Army, we're on the West Coast. We're in San Jose, California. Actually, Barron's in Sunnyvale, and so we don't have hurricanes. We have earthquakes.
Yeah. Our weather's underground.
Yep, exactly. And once in a while it goes rattle, rattle, rattle. Mm-hmm. Yeah. There we go. Once went to a Costco where a gal was wearing wooden clogs for shoes. Yeah, that's all about getting attention.
Yeah, even though it is very interesting in my Equestria dreamscape, you can almost always tell earth ponies who do any kind of serious field work or polling or anything like that, because when they come walking into a store, you can hear their metal horseshoes.
Again, we have another request for who are these characters?
This character here is Cadfell. This is Mad Badger's character, and he wanted me to do a picture of him when he was a young colt. And I still need to get some actual markings in around his face and everything like that. And he got a suit of armor from Princess Luna when he actually became kind of like an honorary member of her guard. And he's learning how to take care of it. And this...
These are the war boots, yeah.
These war boots. This is the helmet. He's actually got, breastplate and everything like that, too. I'll probably put those in the background. I'll work on this a little bit more when I get home. And this character over here, who I just happened to decide is called Nightfall. She's a mare in the equestrian military, and she's kind of explained to Cadfell how you take care of your armor and how you wear it, because if you take care of your armor will take care of you. And you won't be having to spend lots of money getting it fixed and repaired as often.
So how often do we get a shake, rattle, and roll? We get something that I can feel every week or two.
Yeah.
But then again, I live about a mile away from the Hayward Fault.
Which is active.
That's the one that the U.S. Geological Service says that there's a 90% chance that sometime in the next 30 years there's going to be a very big one on the Hayward Fault. Actually, my TV is bolted to the wall. Why do you ask? Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're also next to a much smaller earthquake fault, the Alum Rock Fault, which had a magnitude 5.9, I think it was.
Just a couple of years ago.
Well, about a decade ago. And that's the one that caused that landslide that closed the entrance to the park.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get tornadoes. I'm from the Los Angeles area. Originally was raised in Whittier. And yeah, every once in a while you get something kind of exciting down there. That's actually one of the things I miss from LA is that you used to get those thunderstorms that blow off the desert in summertime. We actually had a good one this summer. It was actually something that actually lasted for a while and made some noise and actually really dropped some stuff. And I got a chance to lay in my bedroom with the windows open and just with the lights off and watch all the light show for a while, which was kind of cool. Yeah. And all my computers turned off too.
Yeah, the earthquakes in Mexico City are, first of all, they're about 1,500 miles away, 1,200, 1,500 miles away. And second, it's on a different fault system, so it didn't affect us. So not with a shake, rattle, and roll.
Nope. Okay. All right, it's 6:28. Why don't we switch cameras here? So
let us do that. I'm going to push this button right here that says main. Oh, by the way, guys, if you're a streamer,
these are so
get
cool.
you one of these.
The stream decks are awesome.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I went. Nicole Silver. I lived in Chico. Went to college there, and again, California gets a dozen or so tornadoes a year. And we got a couple in Chico, and I jumped on my motorcycle and chased them because I was born in Missouri. Missouri, we know from tornadoes. So.
Yeah, Corwin, you're 8 minutes behind because it is 6:29. So you might want to update something somewhere somehow.
Yeah. Alrighty, folks. So we're going to take our first 5-minute break. Go stretch, be biological.
I'm going to.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then we'll be back. Who's going to be doing next hour?
I think next hour I'm going to do. Let's see. Is she in the stream yet? Lula Moon Arts. Is that new?
Oh, no, she's been.
She's been. Yeah, is Rubber Vixen in the stream?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, I think I'll hold off on doing her until.
Yeah. I got a commission from Lula Moon, by the way, once. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Kay Fowler, are you new? Are new to?
Yeah.
I'm just needing a drink myself because I have not had one yet.
Why don't you go make yourself a drink during the break?
Bang, I'm a drink.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So welcome to Kay Fowler.
And Pesky Batfish. I
think we've seen Batfish.
505?
Right. Yeah.
There's too many of you guys now. You have to understand. I have like 500 and plus followers now on Picardo. So if I can't remember all you guys by name, you'll forgive me. Oh, and Grelin, I'm going to need to send you some email. I got some information I need to get back and forth on your Patreon stuff. Because you've got a suit design. I'm trying to make sure I get that all come out correctly.
Excellent.
All right.
All right. So 5-minute break. Again, welcome to everybody who is new. Welcome back to everyone who isn't.
See you in 5. Two-fisted drinking.
Indeed. Yeah, and you'll notice pequeño. It's grande. Pero es muy pequeño.
No, I drank everything in your glass already.
Cabron.
Yes, Flippa and Floppa.
Das Flip and Floppa.
Yes.
We'll talk about squeakers and fursuits. Reminds me of the character Flippa and Floppa from... Yes, those are sentient bunny slippers.
Yes, or skunk slippers.
Skunk slippers.
And those are actually based off a pair of real slippers I had at one point.
Pink Pony. I own a copy of the MLP role-playing game. It's a simplistic system, but it's completely functional.
And you can pick it up really fast.
Right, yeah. So you just need a handful of the classic D&D dice, D20, D12, D10, all that kind of stuff there. But it's straightforward. It is functional. It is child-friendly, but but experienced role players can say, okay, yeah, this is a simple system, but I know how this works.
Yep. Yeah. Skunk slippers.
Yep. So yeah, the official MLP role-playing game. We like it.
Yep.
All right.
And once again, that's another way you can support MLP and Hasbro's by buying the game.
Yep, it's official merch.
Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, skunk slippers. Do they stink if they're startled or afraid? All you need is feet for that.
Right. Actually, the skunk slippers, no, they did, but they sure love to eat dried apricots. And you could get the skunk slippers back when Dick Simon Trucking was still around because they had them on their website. And that's where someone got them for me for Christmas.
Indeedy. Yeah. So, and yeah, it's a good system with it has cooperative thing where you can help somebody out and again even if you only have the way it works is how good you are in a skill. If you're not very good, you roll a 4-sided die. If you're okay, you do a 6-sided die. If you're great, you do a 8-sided die. And then as you get experience, you have a skill that goes up to a 10-sider or a 12-sider, or it caps at a 20-sider, which is awesome.
Rainbow Dash.
Yeah, if you ever if you help out somebody and you roll them, and if you roll the maximum number on your dice, I think the rule is that people can roll again and take the bigger number. So if you cooperate, you get much more chances, even if you're a low skill character, of triggering a boost in the result. And they also have friendship tokens. If you do something cool, you get a friendship token. You can spend it on an upgraded die or to make a die maximize. Again, it's a really simplistic system, but it works.
And it's designed to encourage basically cooperative play.
Oh, absolutely.
Which is part of the whole thing about friendship is harmony.
Yeah, and the quality of artwork on the inside, by the way, is top notch. It's not just like those awful stock vectors.
Yeah,
they actually sat down and used the show assets, and it looks good.
Yeah, but speaking of Roan, Clear Skies is not in the chat, but things are moving forward on the next book, and he is moving forward with a board game.
Yeah, oh, that's right. Poor young foal.
Poor unfortunate foal.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Which is going to be a wonderful little board game when it's done.
Yeah. So you play young ponies that are being assaulted by creatures of dream and boogeyman, and you got to do something about it.
Yeah, basically you're a little fool, you're tucked in bed, but it's nighttime. And you gotta go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And that's when the monsters get you.
The monsters under the bed, they're real.
That's right. Or your little sister's crying, or you need a drink of water. And it's how can you get to the bathroom and back, or get to your little sister's
without getting
room?
eaten.
That's right. Or call for mom and get mom to come and scare away the monsters.
Yep.
It's going to be lots of fun.
Yep, it's going to be a good beer and pretzels and drink too much game.
Yes, exactly.
But then you'll have to go to the bathroom.
That's right. Watch out for the boogeyman. Hope there's no creaky floorboards. And I believe that's one of the things you can fall on was this creaky floorboards, and that will basically possibly trigger a monster in your area.
Monsters
in the closet.
Monsters in our lives. Blue Oyster Cult song.
Exactly.
A little bit of trivia. Blue Oyster Cult, way into Dungeons & Dragons. Their dungeon master, Michael Moorcock, who wrote...
Oh, my God. Those must be some downer campaigns.
Well, Michael Moorcock, if I remember correctly, was a member of a band called Hawkwind.
Yes.
And they would occasionally jam with Blue Oyster Cult. But a lot of the songs that Blue Oyster Cult did, were inspired by their Dungeons & Dragons games. And, of course, Michael Moorcock is grim. He did the Stormbringer, Elric of Melniboné series.
You're like a Mimble Bomb.
Yeah, there you go. Mumble of, there you go.
Now, I read those in college, and boy, I'm glad I was in a very happy, because I read all the series back to back over the course of a summer vacation, and wow.
Yeah. Yeah, Army, basically, again, the genesis of all of this was, okay, well, first of all, it's a good show. Surprisingly good. And people in 4chan tried to troll the fans, and the very early fans, and the early fans took it with, as opposed to just yelling back, well, you're a butt too, in typical 4chan style. Just said, I get to say this because we're PG, not G. I'm going to love and tolerate the shit out of you. And basically, the more abusive the trolls got, the more I'm going to love and tolerate you. And it just sort of took off. It became all internety, and here we are.
Yeah.
These things tend to snowball.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't have happened if the show wasn't awesome. And that's because Lauren Faust is an awesome creator. Who believes in story, in characters, in background, in setting, and in integrity of the show. And she did not want a stupid little teapot or strawberry shortcake show. She wanted to do something awesome, the way that she used to play with My Little Pony, which involved battles and wars
and adventures, and basically using your brains.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's actually an amazing thing, Army. Anyway, we actually need to get back. I mean, we can sit here all night and talk about drinks and everything, or
we can do that while you're drawing.
That's exactly. And next up is going to be Corwin. Corwin, I'm going to be working on one of your Patreon rewards. So.
Corwin, we see you.
Yeah, Army, if you have any questions, you can always contact me. I know you're on DA. Fire me a note. I can explain a little more detail to you. All right, I'm going to move this paper down a little bit, actually.
Oh, my God, Shannara. The Sword of Shanana.
Oh, do we have to?
Terry Brooks, the original Tolkien knockoff artist. Sword of Shannara series was regrettable.
Elfstone of Shannara.
Yeah, exactly.
Gallstones of Shannara.
Yeah, well, again, I understand that he got better later on, but early on his stuff was just so obviously Lord of the Rings with the serial numbers filed off. You know, okay, change the word wizard into druid and you pretty much have the same plot.
Mm-hmm. And not that kind of plot either.
Yeah.
And I'm changing glasses, so haha, you can't yell at me.
Yeah, again, they even had the cover of the books was done by the same artist, the brothers Hildebrand.
Yes.
Who like big boofy boots and big boofy swords.
Yeah, it was very obvious that Hildebrandt loved Errol Flynn Flynnery movies because it was very interesting. My initial opinion about Lord of the Rings was based off of Hildebrandt. And then years later, I got a chance to see some of the stuff that Angus McBride, who ended up being one of my heroes, was doing, and it was like, oh, that's very different. That's much more like, historical. And then I found out, well, that's because Tolkien was historical.
Absolute history buff.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's an Anglo-Saxon scholar.
Yeah, well, it was he who first recovered from Ye Old English, and by the way, he wrote the book on Old English. Sir Gawain and the Green Knight.
Mm-hmm. Well, I hope you can come back again, fool you. Love to see you again.
Absolutely. We'll see you next time.
Okay, that's very annoying. We're going to flip this paper over. Darn you, why you have a flaw?
Well, how did Tolkien put it? I'm not writing fiction. I'm not writing stories. I'm writing, fictional history.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but he would teach courses in Old and Middle English, and his favorite text of that, of course, was Beowulf.
Mm-hmm.
And when he would teach the class, he ended up actually being one of the scholars who maintained the Oxford Dictionary of the English language.
Oh, cripes, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, he owned the letter W. He did. Yeah.
So why does it sound like Sesame Street all of a sudden?
Yeah. Letter W.
Letter W is brought to you by J.R. Tolkien.
Yeah. And he would come into his class on his introductory to Middle English class, and this is Oxford. This is this stodgy, everything is like wood that was carved 200 years ago type of place. Very formal. And he would come in, and everybody would be quiet and respectful because this is an English school, and this is Oxford. So that Oxford. And he would just have Beowulf and just go off in the voice, that a proper skald would tell a story, just thundering, booming, gesturing, making everything, Beowulf did the thing with the grand ring, and again, just very, very dramatic. And then he would say in his tweedy, regular voice, and this is how it was done back then. These are stories made to be spoken, not read, And it's just, okay, this is going to rock.
Yeah.
This is going to be great. So yeah, that is our Tolkien. He had a passion. He burned for this.
Mm-hmm. Now, in case people are wondering, this isn't necessarily bottle dancing, but this does involve characters in bottles. And this is one of the things Corwin could explain in far greater detail than I can. I'm going to be busy drawing.
Yeah.
But,
did anyone ever read Lloyd Alexander books? What I know about Lloyd Alexander was that Disney took like the middle book out of a series of 5 and made the Dark Cauldron out of it and regretted it.
Yes.
Not because it was a poor story, but because
they regretted some of their life choices they made.
Oh yeah,
making the movie.
It was actually their first experiment into computer assisted.
Even before Tron.
Yes.
Oh.
Well, the thing is that really wasn't a regular Disney movie. Disney was involved heavily in it. But it was not a Disney movie per se. It was a Steven Lisberger movie.
Okay. Okay, fine. We're going to split hairs here.
We are going to split hairs. But it was computer-generated special effects, and it was all the smoke effects and all that. Whenever, well, basically the plot synopsis is this: there's this pig, see, and if you take this pig and you take a bowl of water and you shove the pig's face into the bowl of water, you can see you can see the future in the bowl of water. So we're going to kidnap the pig because the Dark Lord wants the pig kidnapped. Does that sound stupid to you, taken out of context of the rest of the books?
Yeah.
Yeah, it did to the rest of us too.
Well, congratulations, Halfin. Congratulations. He got a promotion.
Yeah.
Semi-promotion.
Characters.
More hours, but more money.
Characters in bottles, as Spock would say.
Fascinating.
Sniffing.
Yes.
Small mouse girls dancing inside bottles, hence bottle dancing. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's basically a very portable take on pole dancing.
Exactly, because it also creates a barrier between the mouse and the Bigham audience. Now, in this case, it's not going to be a mouse; it's going to be a bunny. Like I say, Corwin could explain. Is Corwin still in the chat?
Corwin is still in the chat.
Okay. Corwin explained in far more detail. There's a very long story involving this.
And would one of those dancing mice be Patina? I think Patina. I think
Yes.
bottle dancing. Well, of course.
But she fell in love with it when she showed up in Nander.
Yes, exactly. She did not originate it.
No, she did not. It was something that was already there, but she was more than happy to go native, for lack of a better word.
And again, you have the so you're eating at the very, very high end restaurant, or whatever it is, and there will be a bottle on your table, and the table will be an entertainer's part of what you get when you eat at these restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's not just not just spicy chicken wings.
No.
And no. It's actually this would be actually like serious, highfalutin type of places.
That's right.
Are they allowed to stick notes into the top?
As long as it doesn't plug up the air holes.
Good old Agni. No patina bottle dancing tonight. Why must you torture us so? Beer, my beautiful beer. Tell me you understand me, beer. Patina the hamster ball dancer.
Actually, Patina does have a hamster ball. She bought a hamster ball for herself. Because Patina, well, it's Patina. She's like that.
It's of course, Patina in her hamster ball, and someone picks it up and goes, "Hey, spin, 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 spin." Yeah. And then somebody's going to get revenge in their dreams.
Yep. Well, it's like, the fact that I need to draw the sketch. Her and Jackie, her lover / business partner / partner in crime, have a 4,000 square foot home in Monterey.
Well, thank you very much, Hyphen. He just upgraded his...
Well, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you very much. Actually, I'll take this because Hyphen's done this. I am going to make the comment that, as I said earlier in the stream, this is what I do for a living. I don't know if we have any newbies in the stream or not. Would you like a different pose by chance, Corbin? Because now is the moment in which I can mix things up. So speak now or forever hold your peace, because there's an alternative pose I can go with. I'm going to wait for a few seconds and see what you do as far in the chat. A fatter bottle of more standing room. Okay, we can work on this. This is one of the advantages about doing patron rewards when you're doing it live and your patron is sitting in the chat. Because we can make certain, because the whole point about doing the patrons rewards is doing something that the patrons are happy with.
Client's the boss.
That's right. But as I was saying, I do this for a living now. I don't have a day job. I don't punch a clock except for punching a clock in the studio. And one of the things that made this possible was in 2015, I set up a Patreon account, and enough people stepped forward and said, we think, for lack of a better word, you're worth it.
Yep.
So
Corwin has a post suggestion, laying out on her side, Zangersy. Draw me like one of your French bottled ponies.
Okay, so an even wider bottle than I'm doing right now then for that. Okay, we can work with this. That's okay. That's fine. We can alter the bottle.
Yep. And remember, Patina is 8.5 inches tall.
Yes.
She is not 8 inches tall. Get it right. Yeah, or she will take revenge.
Yeah, but she's 8.5, and she's very, very. She'll point that fact out to Jackie, who's 8 3/4, and I get to point out the fact that I'm 8 5/8 when I'm in my mouse form.
So there.
So I'm an eighth of an inch taller than. Actually, to be quite honest, one of the fastest adopters of the metric system were the mice because it made it sound more impressive in millimeters. I'm not. Hang on a second here as I do a conversion here. I'm not 8.5 inches. I'm
approximately 21 centimeters.
Yes.
Which is the wavelength of hydrogen of the hydrogen 2 alpha emissions, which is transparent in all the dust lanes in the galaxy. So that's where we'll be communicating on. It's 21 centimeter.
Yeah.
I'm such a nerd. It got me so many dates.
Yeah. Well, of course, they like converting into millimeters, so it's 210. It sounds even better.
Let's try this again.
One more time with feeling. We'll go for a little wider bottle. Now I'm still going to go for a kneeling type pose, but I'll do something and mix it up here. Plus hold back making jokes. Oh, it probably says it's 216 millimeters.
I'm gonna have to get that. I'm gonna have to service that key. That key I have to.
210 is a full 1/4 inch shorter.
Yeah.
Yes. So. Yeah, mice will love the metric because it's bigger numbers. Well, Patina loves cognac, so let's see here. No, actually, I got a better idea. I know how I'm going to. I think I know how I'm going to do this. Pardon me, folks, if I'm doing a lot of. But this is one of the reasons why you do quick gesture drawings of where the spine and the legs are going and everything, because it gives you an idea to sleeping in after drinking the contents. Patina likes to drink. I don't think she can drink that much. She'd need some help. So that's there. Need to move the shoulders up. One of the things when you're figure drawing quite often is if your hips are going this way, your shoulders are going that way. It's a balancing thing you do, and you do it instinctively. If you ever see a drawing of a figure and it looks kind of weird, it doesn't look like it's lining up correctly, look and see whether or not the hips and shoulders are, because they need to be going in opposite.
Are those like genie bottles, whatever size they need to be? Do they auto-adjust? I imagine the cheap ones don't.
No.
Okay, do any of the dancers have some kind of removable bottoms or other escape hatch?
Yes. Quite often, and I'll put on this one here, these bottles don't need it. But,
see you in a while, Sam.
But the regular bottle dancing bottles will quite often have holes in the bottom here, one to allow for the carbon dioxide to feed out the bottom because it's heavier. And two, nowadays if you go into a club where they're doing bottle dancing, quite often the table will be built into...
Hey, Sylvan.
The ball will be built into the table, and then so you can come up through the bottom that way. Hey, Sylvan, glad you could join us tonight.
Yep.
Hope work wasn't too much of a pain. I know you had to work a late shift.
Wasn't there a pirate picture involving Patina drunk in a bottle of rum?
Yes, there was. That was a commission.
Drink her way to the bottom, yeah.
Yep, that was called Shore Leave.
Yo-ho, a pirate's life for me.
That was kind of an interesting thing, because I actually had my wife model for that, as the raccoon holding the bottle of rum that she was in.
Oh, I remember that one, yeah. Mm-hmm. You're drunk, damn right I am.
Yes, exactly. Why else would we be on shore leave?
Yeah, I also remember, I think you did a picture of he did of some of the mice dealing with hostile bighams. That they had this thing. It looked like a shoulder-launched missile, but was actually like a single-shot 9mm.
Yeah, it was a single-shot suppressed, recoilless.
Yeah.
System. Yeah, it was for special operations ops. Yep.
Yeah, that fired a handgun bullet. Yeah.
Yeah, and it fired basically like a Glazer-type fragmentation round. So you're pretty certain if you hit someone in the head, they would go down like a poleaxed cow.
Yep.
Security in my Angel and Knight universe, I've had people who actually work in security say it would be a friggin' nightmare. How do you deal with it? You hire other mice and rats to deal with the problem. Hire a thief to get a thief.
Angie wants to know, does that mean that Andor has started showing up in your dreams again?
Yes, it has. Andor has been showing up for a while now. It's been a certain amount of getting things rebooted again. Bettina has been giving me lots and lots and lots of PowerPoint presentations. Bettina loves PowerPoint. You know, she's one of my muses. I love her dearly, literally in some cases. But my God, she loves PowerPoint.
Nobody's perfect.
Yeah, I've been trying to get her onto Apple's equivalent, but no dice.
Yeah.
She thinks it's wonderfully retro and anachronistic, so she took the time, even from someone from the 24th century, to learn how to use PowerPoint. I think she does it because she likes watching me cringe. And here's a chart. Oh God, not our chart.
Yeah. How about a mouse with a one-shot gyrock, or gyrojet?
That'd be possible. You have to deal with the backblast. At that point, basically, be like firing a recoilless rifle for them.
Yeah, you need a kicker charge of some sort, but yeah.
Yeah, basically what they did was a sliding piston system that basically worked to inflate. The initial version I did, I had a piston, and at some point that wouldn't necessarily work out right. So if I was going to do it again, it'd be like an expanding bag, kind of like what the arm burst recoil system that the Germans came up with in the late 80s, early 90s was.
Yeah, well, actually, one of the best ways to do that is you have two bullets of equal weight, and then and you trap one.
Yeah.
And with the powder charge in between,
right.
And the initial acceleration accelerates both bullets equally, so there's no change there. And then you cushion the other bullet, and so as a matter of fact, what you can do is you can make the secondary bullet a little bit heavier.
Right, and have a spring to catch it, which I didn't have a spring in my initial.
I seem to remember doing some technical drawings of that for you at one point.
Yeah, I didn't include the spring to basically dampen the sudden when it stopped. Like I say, if I revisit the idea, because it is something I want to play around with, I will incorporate that.
Pink Pony, blink tag. I'm going to tell you a Netscape story. I used to work at Netscape way back in the dim times.
Question, how many of you kids even know what the hell Netscape is?
Yep. The world's first widely available web browser and web server. Back in 1994, Netscape, of course, did not make money in their business plan anywhere, but they didn't need to. They were backed by the guys that started FedEx.
But they had spend money for certain.
They had, well, yeah, exactly. So they started this whole .com thing. Them and SGI, Silicon Graphics. But the guy.
I'd rather have that than IE.
Yeah, that's true. Jamie Zawiski.
Oh, I know that name.
Yeah. Who was the progenitor? Him and Lou Montulli were the progenitors of the JavaScript language. But when again HTML was still new, and HTML came out of something called SGML, which was a document markup language. So okay, but there's other things we can do because computers can animate stuff. What can we do? And they were having a drink one night in St. James Infirmary. This doesn't exist anymore. It burned down. A bar in
Mountain View.
Mountain View, right? In an old Quonset hut.
Did you have a seat underneath the Wonder Woman?
Yes.
Oh, you always get to see underneath the Wonder Woman.
They had they were one of those bars that had a whole bunch of crap hanging from the ceiling and all that. And one of the things that they had was a 30-foot high fiberglass Wonder Woman statue. That was standing in the the Wonder Woman hands on hips feet legs far apart for brace thing. There was a table down between her ankles.
Yeah, you get the
and
table.
You would sit in the table, and people would just have their drinks, and they'd look straight up. So you know what they were looking at, and there'd be a bumper sticker right on there that said St. James Infirmary.
Yep.
So the blink tag, curse them forever, was born between Wonder Woman's legs
Yes,
by two drunken Netscape engineers.
because Andy Carrot's asking the question. Yes, there are male bottle dancers.
Woo-hoo.
In fact, Shari, for folks who remember the piece I did called Bottle Dancer, she married a male bottle dancer named Nikos. And her and Nikos went on to have 6 kids. And now Shari doesn't so much bottle dance anymore. She teaches bottle dancing to younger.
Yep.
Because she just washed out of becoming part of Patina's Andorian glider force, because Andor has an air force now, because when you have little 8.5-inch tall individuals, it's a lot easier to build an air force, and there are a bunch of basically
just fold a paper airplane and give it a good huck.
well, basically they're tow line gliders.
Yeah.
And that created its own wonderful little scandal.
And yes, it was named after the St. James Infirmary Blues. That place.
Yep, I ate there several times between Wonder Woman's legs, actually, even.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, and actually Lou Montulli, the other half of the early JavaScript team, he actually had this little blog article on, the birth of the blink tag and why saying why he's so sad that he did it. Back at Netscape, I was on their, yeah, there you go. I was on their quality assurance team for international versions of the browser. Does it still work in German? Say the translation team made 3 of the menu items have the same hotkey, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And but we had this tradition where everybody in engineering, whether they're developer or QA, had a little candy jar on their desk. It was full of little 1/2-inch super balls, the little hyper bouncy red balls.
Andorian McClaw.
Yep. And every time you'd find a bug, you'd file the bug in the bug database. Then you would go find the engineer who was responsible for the bug, and you'd say, hey Michael, say guess what? Guess what? This menu item, say when you select it, the menu stays open forever, and then you'd throw the ball at him. He'd go, sigh, pick up the ball, put it in his jar. When he fixed the bug, hey Lance, what? I fixed that menu bug. Bang, and I'd get a little 1/2-inch super ball bounce off my head. I'd say, sigh, I'd pick up the ball, and I'd put it in my jar. Jamie had a 1-gallon jar full of little 1/2-inch super balls, because anytime he felt like it, he could walk by his cube, take a 1/2-inch super ball, throw it at Jamie and say, blink tag, he'd say, I'm sorry, and he'd add it to his growing collection.
So he worked off his time in purgatory with one Super Bowl at a time.
No. Yeah, CompuServe not so good. They tried they like AOL tried to do this, closed ecosystem. You will come into CompuServe, you will never leave CompuServe. That internet thing, that the college students are using, no, that's not for you. AOL tried to do the same thing, and of course CompuServe did it and charged you by the hour. Yeah, that was a really good business model.
Yeah, they didn't realize things were changing right underneath their feet.
Yep. So wouldn't gliders for 8-inch mice be very attractive for eagles or falcons? I would imagine so.
They would be.
That's a hazard of the job. I'm telling you, you don't need flak. You don't need a,
trained falconers could actually, and that's actually something that Dawn has considered and addressed. Now, admittedly, a glider for a mouse, even though they're only 8 inches tall, still has like a 4-foot plus wingspan. So it's it's going to be good size. But
on the other hand, they're training eagles to take down drones.
That's right, exactly. So it is a problem. At the moment, Andor's getting away with it because no one has quickly gotten any falconers into the military.
Give it time.
Exactly.
And I'm reminded that there is an hourly duty which must be done and did. So I will go do done did to do.
Done do did. It's really important because of next weekend.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to go click, and I'm going to go click, and I'm going to make our hourly thank you to University Art for sponsoring Baron in the form of Never-Ending Art Supplies. University Art is a high-end framing and art supply store with branches in Sacramento and San Jose and Redwood City, California. Very good framing shops, museum quality. The kind of framing that will keep your artwork pristine for 100 years, literally. Again, they have handled some of the most famous artists in the world, Albert Dürer, Picasso,
Rembrandt,
original Rembrandt, and Nobel Prize Award letters. They also have seminars and workshops and craft fairs and the whole bit. Their employees are knowledgeable. They're artists themselves. We occasionally borrow some of them for the show. And again, they provided Baron with kibbles and bits for 20 years. So yeah, we would like very much to say thank you to University Art for being Baron's sponsor, and say hi to Mike and to
our guest last week, Jeff.
Yeah, Jeff Braunschweiger, who was on last week, an expert in Egyptian tomb painting as well as other styles.
Basically, carried one for just for the future. I always remember his last name as if I'm ordering something in a deli. Would you like Braunschweiger on rye? Yes, please.
There you go. Oh, I'm sure he'll love that.
Oh yeah, he loved me doing that when I was working there with him. By the way, going back to Corwin, whether 4 feet is too big or not, actually having competed in model competition, flying model competitions for tow line gliders, if you want to be able to catch thermals and carry something that weighs a few ounces and be able to have some real flight time. I mean, we're talking about 30, 40 minutes, an hour time.
Basically, as long as you can catch that thermal.
Catch that thermal and ride the winds. You need some wingspan, and it works out to being about 4 feet. And
did you ever have any of your? Did any of you guys ever get any of your models taken out by red tails?
Trying to remember. Yes, one time when we were competing down, those probably place, Taft, California.
Yeah. Oh God, what a miserable place.
Yes, but Taft is still the place of the World Free Flight Competition every year, and back in 1975, my dad's Voodoo 3 got more or less, I don't know, it wasn't a red-tailed hawk. In that case, he basically flew into a circling pack of, or flock of buzzards or turkey vultures. And there was a mid-air collision involving my dad's plane and a bird.
Oops.
Which knocked several minutes off of the flight time. Fortunately, it was high enough up that even tumbling out of the sky to the ground, we still got another minute worth of flight time, and that counted.
Yes, it doesn't count until the splat.
Until it hits the ground, exactly. And my job was to run around on a 3.5 horsepower Briggs & Stratton mini bike and chase after my dad's planes across the Central Valley and try not to ride into gopher holes or get heat stroke.
Yeah, Sonny, so the first computer I ever dealt with was a processor technology Sol 20, which
don't even know that one.
TRS-80 was, frankly, architecturally was basically a clone of it. But yeah, it would play the same things, Trek 80, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So Ping Pong, I'd like to know how do you get, shapes like the bottle symmetric?
Okay, now this one here is if you were to actually look at this wouldn't be symmetric. When I'm home in the studio, what the trick is I'll do is I'll take a piece of tracing paper and I'll draw, and this is an old trick, by the way. This goes back literally hundreds of years. Here, I just eyeballed it and got it to work out. But if I really wanted to make this ball symmetrical, what I do is I draw this side of the bottle, then I take a piece of tracing paper and I'd trace it, and I'd flip it over, and then I would do the other side. Very much like if you'll see in digital art, where you'll do one side of an object, then you'll copy it, flip it, and then marry it, and then join like the two layers together to make it one object. So that's how you do it. But the old method was draw on one side, trace it, flip it, and do it on the other. Here, I'm just eyeballing it. I'm just going, okay, if I got this much room from this side of paper, I got this much room to the side of paper, and then I'm basically just mentally drawing a series of vertical lines here in my mind. And then I'm saying, okay, I have to have this curve match here, and this curve match here. Am I close? Okay, I'm more or less in the ballpark.
On the other hand, this is Andor, and all the glasses, all the bottles are
hand blown.
So there, you're being accurate. It costs extra to be accurate like this. Yeah, this is period research here. This is. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, exactly. Good recovery there. Great recovery.
You're welcome.
And pink, yeah, it would not be. And glass blowing is a thing in Andor. In fact, one of the things that made bottle dancing happen was one of the early sultans of Andor went and cockroached away some glass blowers from Venice and had them come over and set up a glass blowing. It's one of the few glass blowing centers outside of Italy, or Venice, since
Because they stole the trade secret
that's exactly
by
right.
stealing the trade secreters.
Yes, exactly. And if, of course, it'd be Venice at that point. It wouldn't be Italy. Italy doesn't really exist as an entity yet. That doesn't happen until the 1860s.
Let's see. Let's see. Where
Dragon remembers 286 processors. Yes.
Oh yeah, I would say my first PC was an NEC 8085 based machine.
I remember.
They had their own flavor of the x86.
Do you remember the places, you go fix shops where you could go upgrade your computers, and they'd have guys who would kind of say, okay, do this, do that, and you installed your own hardware?
No, never had to do that myself. Okay. I was that guy to begin with.
Okay, one of my roommates went to one of those places, and he upgraded his 386 to a 486 because he could do it, and he'd been playing Wing Commander at the time. And that's when we discovered that the chain gun actually fired a lot faster in the game. It's just that his processor had never been able to keep up with it. And he had gotten really good at Wing Commander on a 386, and then he played Wing Commander on a 486 and realized, holy crap, everything's happening a lot faster.
Hey, how? Yeah, oh, by the way, the question was asked, have you gotten to even touch your big Wacom tablet, or is Smudge still Bogart in it?
Oh, no, I'm playing around with it. I'm still tinkering with it. I'll probably be putting some black and white stuff up recently, because at the moment my black and white looks pretty good. My color, well, I'm still learning how to do this color mixing thing in digital. It's so completely alien to how you do it in traditional media that I'm still getting stuff that, as far as I'm concerned, is a train wreck. But I am doing some black and white stuff and getting some nice results. And just so folks know, in the next few weeks, my wife is going to start streaming on Picardo too. She's set up her own channel with getting all the stuff taken care of, and the roles will be reversed. I'll be doing Caredwin's job. I'll be the moderator.
Woohoo!
And Smudge will be basically kicking me out of my usual drawing table location and taking over my Cintiq, because it is far better than her poor little Cintiq. She has an ancient Cintiq. We need to get her a new one, but money.
Yeah, Holly, I sympathize. I had to have my wisdom teeth out too, so...
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I had 4 out years ago, but fortunately for me, it was a fairly painless as it could be process.
Yeah. But if you ever get any sudden swelling, get your ass to a dentist right away, because that would be an abscess, and the infection can spread along the nerve channels. And that part of your body is not very far away from your ear and brain.
Right.
So, yeah, again, if you get sudden swelling, don't mess with it. Figure out how to pay for it later. Because at that point, you're one step away from the emergency room.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And any medical bill will be cheaper than the cost of the funeral will be.
Oh, wow, yeah. Yeah, but hey, at least somebody else has to pay it, so, screw them. Now, there we go.
What's the naval regulations on having bottle dancers aboard ship? That's a good question. That's never come up. Now, of course, it's interesting because the Andor universe, you don't have quite the whole thing of you don't have women on ships because your ship will be jealous, which is actually kind of good, because Dawn's younger sister, Angelia, is becoming, much to Dawn's horror, a naval person, since Dawn is the head of the Andorian army. So you got the Army-Navy thing going on, big time.
A generic, probably. Although we did go over to Baron's place and get him set up. Of course, we might need to update some of that software.
Yeah, we'll need to go in and check that through and make sure it's all updated. We also need to get some overlays done for her, too. And I get some overlays done for myself, because I would like to do some digital streaming at some point in the future.
Yeah, not to worry. I mean, again, that's just fire up your favorite program, make a transparent layer, then on top of that, make make whatever you want. Export it as a PNG. Then you just make it the same size that you're streaming at. We stream at 720p, mostly to be kind to people who are on mobile. Because one thing that Picardo does is they basically pass through the stream at whatever the original resolution is. They don't, re-encode it. And if we did 1080p, that takes up exactly twice as much bandwidth, and some people wouldn't be able to see the stream.
Right. Actually, to answer the question, Patina Mad Badger, she has a fleet of ships. She doesn't have one ship. She has a fleet. She has a thing called White Lady Shipping. In fact, she is known in Andor as the White Lady. or the scary white lady if you had a bad experience with her. Ask the Valhallan Vikings about that. She did something to Sven. He still doesn't walk right. And she owns a fleet of effectively Baltimore Clippers that she's had built, and they are the fastest ships in the Indian Ocean at the moment.
Ender mice plus catapult plus parachute equals boarding at a distance.
Yep.
Well, it's actually, you'd probably need something faster than catapult because because you would lose velocity very quickly.
Yep.
Mice are not dense.
Nope.
In fact, that's why you can say you can mice fall off of skyscrapers and don't die.
Yeah, yeah. It was very amusing. Patina has gotten used to because her apartment in the palace is on the 3rd floor, and she'll have a tendency sometimes if she wants to get to the ground really quickly, she'll simply jump off the balcony. And then there was the one point when she was made 5 foot tall. Yep. And she tried that, and it didn't work quite as well.
And Mudderford says that per Mudderford's understanding, digital is very different from traditional, and so that it can be difficult to make the transition from one to the other. It's definitely a completely different paradigm.
Yeah, the biggest thing I'm having a trick with is that when I'm doing color mixing in traditional, you very much orient around warm family and cool family. If you're mixing a cool blue, you mix together a warm blue, and that's how you make your purple color. With digital, it's all about the inclusion of white or black, or it is, you're going out and you're doing these palette grabs. It's all about grabbing palettes of color and putting those all together. And it's, I'm still learning the curve.
So Generic wants to know if in Andor if there's couples bottle dancing.
Yes, there is.
Yeah, and of course, my mind immediately goes to it's like, are there different kinds of entertainment that happens in the bottle?
Yes, there is. And it ranges.
A squeak show.
It ranges from very clear glass, and you can see exactly what's going on, to rather translucent to smoky glass that is illuminated by a candle behind, and you can just see the silhouettes of what's going on.
I imagine that would be basically how I imagine that that kind of show, particularly the ones that you can see exactly what's going on, might be illegal, so it'd be kind of underground.
Right. Okay. Actually, I'm going back to here's the Jen's got a question. Have you ever had anything basically discouraged while streaming when people are attending but they don't have anything to say about your artwork and they're all quiet all the time, minus random conversations? I'm currently struggling with that. One of the things I think that, okay, correct me on this, Cared One, but I think one of the things that helped us was I had a moderator right off the bat. And a moderator helps engage the conversation and keep people feeling like, there's a two-way communication going on here. So I can spend more time focusing on this and not looking at this. I mean, I look up, you'll notice I'm looking up fairly often because I do want to kind of see what you guys are saying, but and I've noticed that a lot of the other streamers are now going to the idea of having someone who moderates and replies back. The other thing, too, is that we're doing it all through microphones. I know a lot of people do their streaming, and they do it all through typing in the text and everything. And it seems like there's a more immediate response of me looking in the camera and saying, why, yes, or Cared One replying verbally.
Yeah. The other thing that helps, but again, keep recognize that this comes with its own drawbacks. Is a camera on your face.
Yes.
Tucked in the upper corner, kind of like what Baron's doing here.
I'm looking at you.
Again, it humanizes you. It makes you much more of a person. Downside is people can see your face, and if you're one of those people who's very private. Again, that might not be something you'd want to do. Again, even I know some people who even want to skip voice.
Yeah.
But anything you can do to humanize yourself, to make you a person, so that the show is as much about the person as it is about the art, is again the classic thing: is come for the art, stay for the people. And for that you have to be a people. Yeah,
and also I think. This is pop psychology here. I have no scientific data to back this up, but I have to wonder whether the fact that we haven't had to ban that many people is a result that it's just not text. When it's text, it's removed, it's detached. There's a certain dehumanizing part of it, whereas I'm looking at you right now and I'm talking to you. And So I wonder if that makes people, for lack of a better word, behave a little bit better.
Okay. Yeah. Well, the other thing is, with bad behavior, catch it early and diffuse it gently.
Mm-hmm.
If they refuse, then without without anger but without pity, ban them. Again, you just again, trolls want attention. Don't give them attention.
Yep.
The only people we've ever had to ban were spammers. They were not people who came for the channel and then said, "Oh," on the channel itself. They weren't here to pester Baron. They were just here to be loud because they saw, "Oh, let's go take a look at the top shows on Picardo. Let's go spam those." They probably didn't even know Baron's name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that helps you or answers your question, but that's part of it. I mean, and of course, very early on in the early days, I was kind of a little bit nervous about streaming because I didn't know whether people realized I was 50-something, and I knew a lot of my audience was much younger than I was, and I was kind of going, "Oh, wow, he's an old dude. I don't want to have anything to do with him. He's old." I was very happy to find out that most people went, "Holy crap, you're cool. I wish my dad was like this." So it was a bit of a it was a certain leap of faith when first time we turned on that camera and people could see who I was.
Nezumi, we've had exactly 2 incidents. One of which was slightly earlier, just somebody coming on going, "Oh, hey, buy my album," and okay, ban.
Yeah.
But the thing is that some of the Picardo admins will lurk this channel because they're interested in, Picardo admins like art too, and what Baron does, because it's traditional art, and good quality traditional art, is fascinating to a lot of folks. It's not just somebody's Photoshop screen, with uns music in the background. That's another way to get, is do something besides playing dubstep in the background with just, your paint tool Psy or
Photoshop, right?
Or Photoshop,
or Clip Studio, like I use.
Again, make it personalize it a little bit and make it something that is not just another dubstep plus anime stream. Because again, even. It's because even a good artist, who presents a show that is basically a speed paint, at 1-to-1 speeds, it's probably not going to get a lot of attention. Yeah.
Also, another thing too, Jen, is if you'll notice, I stream on Saturday. Our pre-show starts at 5 o'clock. We go live at 5:30. Come hell or high water. People can plan their evening. Say, like, I know earlier in the evening, I'm not going to call you out, McClaw, for any other reason, but the fact you said, "Hey, AFK, I'm going to go get dinner." McClaw knew he had 20 minutes to go get food and be back before the stream started. If you are consistent, that goes a long ways towards people saying, "Hey, I'm willing to tune in because I know when it's going to happen." So,
all you youngins.
Yeah.
I'm about to turn double Larsus's age later on this month. So, yeah.
Double. So, I like that. Double Larsus.
Yeah, exactly.
we have a new.
I'm double goldfish. Yeah.
Yeah. We have another like milestone or meter we can use.
But Dave is older than dirt, so
That's right. Dave was around before there was dirt. What time is it? Okay, we're getting close to the end of the hour on this one.
About another, what, 5 minutes or so? I think.
Yep, and also
7 minutes. Yeah, 4 minutes. Go.
4 minutes. So I'll try to get some things blocked in here. I'll do some more shading on this when I get home.
Yeah. No, I refuse to act my age.
Well, my
it's
whole
no
thing,
fun.
Well, my whole thing is that never grow up. Well, it's not that I never grow up. I want to be mature, but I don't want to lose my passion and love for the world and fascination. And there's new things to be discovered out there every day. And that's my one thing in life is every day I try to learn something I didn't know the day before.
Yeah. Older than dirt is older than you for whatever value of you.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a very much a global audience. We sometimes get folks from Russia. We have folks from Venezuela. We have folks from France. We have folks from England. We have...
Okay, just got a little note from Corwin. Okay, no problem. We can fix that. I'm glad I didn't start any shading.
With that.
Thank you very much. Well, see, once again, this is one of the beauties about having your patron in the chat is they can do things, and he likes me to make a certain change, which would be kind of something we normally would not show on the stream. So we'll fix that when we get home.
Actually move the camera slightly. We'll zoom out. Let's see, properties. Configure video. And I'll go, boot. There we go. She's working on the base of the bottle.
Mm-hmm. Just want to get the... Now, once again, what I may do when I go home is I may actually tie these up. I may take this one, trace it, repeat it, put it over here so I can get some symmetry for the... bit more for the leg bases. But, that's... I wanted to get this blocked in. Yeah. And I have owed Corwin some backlog Patreon rewards, so I want to get that done. Like I say, when I get home tomorrow, I'll make those revision changes, and I'll fire it off to you right away.
Yeah, Steve Wozniak has more hair than I do, so.
All right, we're at 7:28. Why don't we click to...
Yep, there we go. Oh, yes, I have met Woz a couple times.
I met Woz once.
Yeah.
I remember strictly by accident, he was down at the Tech Museum in San Jose. He was just someone there at the museum.
Yeah, so that's where I met him, yeah.
Yeah. All right.
So, Steve Wozniak is very approachable.
Yes.
Very down-to-earth kind of guy.
Mm-hmm. He's a nerd, just like us.
Yep. One of us. One of us.
Yep. So I'm going to switch glasses so I can actually read the text screen over here.
Yeah.
So we're going to go take a 5-minute break here and get up and stretch and stuff like that. And then we'll be back, and I will start working on another Patreon reward. So see you guys in 5.
And we are back.
Yes, we are.
Choke it down quick.
Yeah, at least you got something to munch on, dude. I gotta wait till 9:30.
Well, you an apple too.
Yeah, hunger's the best sauce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so folks here, this is your cue. When you see Pink Pony on, go check out the stream.
And also, Pink Pony. Of course, I know you sent me an email. I can send you a few ideas that we did. There's, one of the things I did study in art school was advertising and marketing. I do know a few things about how to basically kind of get some signal boost. That's the popular buzzword.
Right. The other thing is make sure that you set tags on your stream. Furry, pony, whatever. Because some people forget to do that, or they just say drawing, and nobody ever looks there. You need to have one of the popular tags like furry or pony. And again, I don't know whether you've done that or not, but just check.
Or one of the other things like I'll do quite often, if you people follow me on DA or you follow me on Twitter, I'll post a piece of artwork during the week and I'll say blah 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 is a piece, I'll give a description, say, by the way, I'm going to be creating work like this next Saturday on my Picardo, and I'll give a link to my Picardo stream. Because sometimes people won't read your journals and stuff like that, but if you're looking at their artwork, they'll go, oh, hey, that's right, this person does artwork.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, Pink Pony. Tumblr and DeviantArt are not immediate in that people might stop by, once every few days, to somebody's page, but Twitter is right now. So, again, tweet about it a day in advance, then an hour in advance, and then I'm live.
Yeah, like what I do. I tweet on Wednesday, and I let people know, hey, I'm streaming this week. And then the day of the stream in the morning, around before 10 a.m., I think it's something else at Pacific time. I'll say, hey, I'm streaming. And then an hour before, I say, hey, I'm going to be streaming in 1 hour. And then they will, it seems to help with the connectivity. And also, I say, being regular. Jen, to answer the question, do I have more pony fans than I have furry fans? Well, see, the whole problem is there's an awful lot of furry fans that are pony fans, and an awful lot of pony fans who are furry fans. So
there's a lot of overlap, but not the same, but there is overlap.
There's overlap, yeah. They are different communities. They do have slightly different, things they like, but really, I don't put my fans or my supporters into one camp or the other. They're my fans, they're my supporters, and I consider myself very, very lucky to have them.
Yeah. Oh, that's another suggestion. Say multi-stream if you can.
Yeah, multi-stream if you can. I don't multi-stream that much because we have a very controlled, agenda and everything here. We have our breaks, we have this, and so we need to kind of control the flow of things. But if you're not on such a structured program like we are, multi-streams are a great way for people to discover you.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Dragonfire, when we go back to draw mode, we'll put that drawing back up just for you and your wife.
Yes, so she can see the bunny. So we are now going to get on to our next one. It's an individual I was kind of hoping would be in the chat tonight, but I don't see him. And this is actually going to be a study piece for a larger. He has been hoarding like Kieran did here. Who hoarded many
2 years worth,
many months of his rewards to get one very large piece, which you see during the pre-show. And this is going to be a study piece for a bigger project, but I need to get some character studies worked out, so I'm going to do that. And I'll send it off to him basically as a progress, saying, hey, look, I haven't forgotten about you.
All right, so speaking of which, art.
Yes, art.
Art.
Oh, one other thing too also helps. So why don't we show?
Okay, and this is just for you, Dragonfire.
Yes, we're gonna leave this out here.
Go get your wife. Look at the picture.
Dragonfire, I won't take this picture off until I see in the chat that she has seen it. So this stays here on camera until you give me the green light. While you're doing that, though, I'm going to move to the next piece and at least get the reference lined up for me. I got my paper ready there. Okay, she loves it. All right.
Excellent.
Okay.
That was just for you, Dragon Wife.
Yes. And also, too, Pink, one of the other things that does help is I make it a habit whenever possible, and this sometimes can be hard to do. I understand it. Yes, I do this for a living, so I have a kind of a backlog. But even when I was working full-time, 40 hours plus a week at the art store, I still made an effort that every day on DeviantArt and on FA, I put something up. Even if it's just a quick rough sketch or something like that. What's the matter? Oh, yeah, I know. I haven't switched I'm not drawing yet. But thank you, Sarah. But, every day I put something up. Because, to be quite honest, one of the things you are fighting is you're trying to be noticed amongst all of the noise. And there's an awful lot of noise on the web and on social media. And if you aren't on people's radar all the time, you do kind of sink below the surface. So putting something up every day, or at least every other day, goes a long ways towards building your, I have had a series of pictures where one side of the paper has had a flaw on it. Pooh. There. Flip it over. Yeah, good on that side. Yeah, that goes away. All right.
There we go.
Well, Jen, I'm glad it helps. I mean, I know there's some people who say, geez, aren't you giving away a lot of your secrets? Isn't this going to cost you, possible? And I'm not in a competition that way.
Yeah, the thing is, the Baron's art style, etc., is sufficiently unique. People are going to be interested in it, are going to stay interested in it. People that aren't interested in it aren't going to be interested in it. And so you don't need to worry at all about things like, am I cannibalizing my own audience? Like, well, no. In any event, that's just a bad attitude to go in with.
Right.
Because artists need to stick together.
Yeah. One of the things that, was kind of rough during the... back in the old days for social media and the web and everything like that, is that if you were struggling, there might be a guy in the next town over who could tell you, hey, just do this. That's all you need to do and it'll fix your problem. But you didn't have that ability. I couldn't have somebody like Andy Carrot in, Great Britain and say, hey, look, dude, just do this. And this will fix your problem. You were kind of on these little islands, little Galapagos islands of artists. And if someone in your community either didn't know or wasn't willing to share that information, you were screwed. So having gone through that, I don't see why people who are struggling, if I know something, I just can't share that with them.
Yeah, there aren't really trade secrets in art, other than who your customer is. Yeah.
Do we have a swordfish? Foxfire said, "Hey, swordfish."
We have. I see the real Mimir, but I don't see swordfish.
Okay.
Well, we have Sakana. Hi, Sakana.
That's a guy.
Welcome back, Sakana. We like to have Sakana.
Yes.
Sakana is back. We like Sakana. We'll take a quick check through. Do we have anybody new? We have blue and black. Yeah. Foxfire, you and your dark colors.
Yes.
Let's see. Mark Lungo, are you new? I don't recall having seen you before, but if if not, welcome to the show.
And this character's name is Windjammer, or Windrammer, and this is a character of Marshall, who's one of my longtime supporters and patrons. And like I say, I'm going to be doing a big old color piece for him, and I need to get a bit more familiar with his characters. I haven't drawn this character yet. Sakana, okay.
Okay, fish knife.
Fish knife, all right.
We're just going to call you Filet.
Sakana's a cut above the rest.
Let's see. Going through the list here. Yeah, we were relentless. One of us. we were so mean to Cat's Paw. We continue to be mean to Cat's Paw. One of you.
Yeah, well, I mean, and then Cat's Paw got me into it, because I have to admit, what got me into Pony was we were over at Copper Cheetah's place, and I think it was him or his SO, Jareth, showed me the Epic Artists Pony video, and I was kind of watching. This is kind of cool. It's kind of interesting, and then I got to the one scene during the episode Ghostbusters when AJ's doing the rope trick up on stage. And I watched that whole thing, just that few seconds of the video, and I went, you know what? I want to know something about this character. And I, then I found out that, Dave had gotten an interest in it, and, you were interested in that one weekend I came over from work, and you said, you want to watch the first episode? I said, yeah, sure, why not? And then you showed me the second episode, and then you asked me if I wanted to see another episode, and I said, yeah, sure. And I had that Sunday off, if I remember correctly, and I seem to remember it was like 9 episodes later, I realized I probably should go home, and then I went home, and the next morning I woke up and I watched all of them on YouTube I could find, and I was hooked.
Yeah, Hyphen's like, a whole show about horses?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
And, it was, I'd watched all of the episodes and was like through the second time through watching them, and then I had my first dream in the Equestria Dreamscape. And, it's been since 2011, and now it's an ongoing thing, at least several times a week.
Yep.
Right now, I'm going through the horrible process of having to do the annual audit for the Ponyville Royal Equestrian Weather Service. We have to submit our audit, and Rainbow Dash has stuck me with the job because she hates paperwork.
Welcome
Thanks.
to the bottom of the heap, noob.
Well, yeah, more part. I'm junior management.
Yeah.
I'm her associate.
What we really need to see is Zecora in combat against Rafiki from The Lion King. Epic rap battles of history begin.
I'll move that nose over. That's not in the right location.
Yeah.
There we go. That's better.
Yeah, Cold Silver came in through having seen Living Tombstone's Discord song.
Oh, okay.
Discord, whatever did we do? Let's see. The Claw came in through a forum friend who said, good animation, well written, go see it. And the first one was Zecora's introduction. In which Apple Bloom was the only one who wasn't xenophobic.
Yep. I actually consider myself, kind of honored that apparently I've been the infection point for several people because they started following my Equestria Dreamscape stuff, and then said, well, what the heck, I guess I'll watch an episode of this. Oh, well, he was right. It's not bad. I guess I'll watch another. Damn him.
Yeah.
I'm hooked.
Real Mimir. The moment for Mimir was seeing the clip from Too Many Pinkie Pies where they completed watching paint dry.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I need the context for this. In other words, you were weirded into the fandom.
Well, I have to admit, Bet You Can't Make Your Face as Crazy as Mine was pretty wild.
Oh yeah, well, that would achieve aerosol Dr. Pepper at any. Yeah. Yeah. That's spännande. Yeah. The crazy old Rafiki, man. Yeah. The first pick I ever saw by Baron was Slow Day in Retail. That was Sylvan.
Yes. Yes, the day after Christmas.
Yeah.
We don't have any kind of the universe. We didn't have Black Fridays. We didn't have the stampede of people returning stuff on Christmas.
Yep.
And,
well, Discord, by the way, was Q. The whole concept was, yeah, we have this omnipotent, trickster chaos being, kind of like Q. Okay, we can do that. It's going to be called Discord. Yeah, and we need a voice actor kind of like John Delancey. Well, why don't we just contact John Delancey?
Yeah.
And so they did, and he did, and the rest is history.
And he fell in love with the series.
Yep.
And made a movie about it.
Yeah. And apparently you're responsible for pulling some bronies into furry. Hey, this guy that draws cool ponies. Oh, look at Rosemary or Patina.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Now, okay. Here's one thing I will state. I've never actually mentioned this before. When I started having the MLP dreams for several nights, Patina didn't know where I'd gone. I was going off someplace. She wasn't certain where, but about the fourth night in, she showed up. And initially, she didn't say who she was, but I kind of went, wait a minute, okay, let's see here. White, $sign for a cutie mark, green eyes, horny, because she's a unicorn. And I went, Patina, and she went, winner! And she did comment on the fact that this has amazing possibility. You realize that we can reach out to all these other fans of yours and get them hooked on this too. So I will admit, from the very early get-go, Patina had kind of, complete with reaching off camera and from somewhere pulling basically a pie chart and starting to give me basically sales pitch. What's the most memorable MLP celebrity encounter and what effect did it have on you as an artist and a person? Boy, there's a couple. I will have to admit, meeting Lauren Faust at the Sylmar Wildlife Center was really
Lauren
something.
is good people.
And also, too, because one of the things that happened, this guy right here, for the evening had brought down several bottles of moonshine. Yep, moonshine.
Yeah, apple pie moonshine. Basically, apple with cinnamon, based upon corn whiskey.
Yep. And we were sitting around drinking it like you're supposed to, which means pass the bottle to the next person and take a drink.
Yeah, say none of this, I'm going to get my own dainty cup because I don't want your germs.
No. Don't worry.
No, we were just all taking slugs out of it.
Besides that, the moonshine was a high enough proof it was killing any germs on contact anyways. And one of the things we were doing was going around and introducing ourselves. And
the rule was, tell us something weird about you.
Right.
Like Lauren Faust.
Horribly double jointed.
Yeah, is it not? Yeah, oh gosh, I swear she has no joints. They're all just rubber swivels. It's creepy.
Yeah. And so it got to me, and I was like almost the last person on the circle. So I'm kind of going, well, what the heck do I say? So I introduced myself. Hi, my name is BaronEngel. And this was right after I'd left my day job and had broken out onto my own. And I was just going through the whole thing, and I'm going, okay, what can I say that's kind of unusual? Then I remembered that my wife had gone to Cal Arts and had studied animation, and Lauren Faust had been a student about 2 years ahead of her. But because there wasn't a whole lot of females in the character animation department, they kind of knew each other.
Most of the women that go to Cal Arts have gone to the writing side rather than the animation side.
So I went through and I mentioned this whole thing. I said, blah, 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 there's this and this. And I guess as far as something that's kind of weird, I kind of looked at Lauren and I said, my wife went to school with you at Cal Arts. And she went, who? And I said, Christina Hansen, you might have known her by Smudge. And she went, tall, wears a baseball cap, wears camos, wears a tank top.
Bench presses a truck.
And I said, yes. And she was, Smudge! So it was just really kind of neat.
the world is a tiny place.
Yeah, and it made this moment when I went from just being, okay, he's kind of a nice guy who's come down for, the evening for the dinner, to the point of, hey, I actually had something in common and we could like talk.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing I say about Lauren is that once you get off the topic of My Little Pony, there's still an awful lot of person there. You know?
Yeah, there's an awful lot of person.
Yeah.
Oh, and getting a chance to meet M.A. Larson for the first time in person.
Oh, yeah, God, what a character he is.
Oh, God. And some of the stories, which I was told not to say anything about, that I learned that night.
Oh, yeah.
Things about the series, things about M.A. Mitch, which I will take to my grave.
An early grave. Let's see. For me, well, so one of the moments that stick out, that aren't necessarily the most impactful, but the ones that come immediately to mind. The Las Vegas convention that will not be named. That was the first of the big VIP parties that I hosted. I rented the Frank Sinatra suite in the Riviera. It was freakishly huge, like 3,000 square feet.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and a couple of my friends who live in Las Vegas, who are both experienced bartenders, et cetera, agreed to do it. I spent a couple $1,000 on booze. It was all gone by the end of the day, and I had to get more. And we invited all the VIPs. And so, okay, come relax. And and of course, it was at that party that they found out you're not getting paid. Because I didn't want to do all this through the convention. I was totally on my own dime, and when the convention went down in flames, it didn't affect us at all as far as we're going to claim your credit card. No, as far as the Riviera was concerned, we weren't even with the convention. It was a formal party. Dusty and I went out and bought tuxedos. Didn't rent them, bought them.
I remember when you guys came home from the tailor.
Yeah. So again, it was Men's Warehouse. We're going to make you look great. And and when we had said it was a heavily themed party. Hey, ring a ding ding. It was all about 50s stuff, and we had 50s music. And I brought down one of my electric pianos and guitars, and Daniel Ingram showed up, and he played piano most of the evening, and Peter New plays guitar, and he played my guitar most of the evening. But we had told everyone, hey, it's going to be a swank party, and Nicole Oliver, Andrea Libman, and Brenda Critchlow showed up in slinky cocktail dresses. Let me tell you, they wear them well. They wear them really, really well. I've got a photo. I could. I'll dig it up at some point for you guys. It's a photo of the three of them. They arrived relatively early together on a couch, and it's just these are the ladies of MLP. And Brenda Critchlow shows up, and again, she was not used to this kind of thing. Of course, nobody at the time was. There was still this, oh my God, people know our names, and we're just voice actors. Normally, it's like, oh yeah, you make funny voices for cartoons. Who cares? Okay, you get to pay your bill in advance because you don't get regular work. Instead, in the MLP fandom, they're adored. So Brenda shows up, and she's in her slinky, evening gown, and as I was playing Dorman. And I had gone out to a florist, and I had bought a whole bunch of long stem roses and carnations. And the guys that would show up, they would get a carnation, for the boutonniere, and if they weren't, dressed up, I just, okay, fine, have a little safety pin, I'll pin it to your collar. The women got handed a long stem red rose. And Brenda shows up, and I hand her the rose, and she starts crying. I'm like, did I just step on a landmine here? She's like, no. No one's ever given me a rose before. Like, what? What crime is this? You got to understand, okay, Brenda is somebody else she is elegant, she is beautiful, she is smart, she is, she has presence, she is memorable. And nobody had ever given her a rose before. Maybe they were intimidated, I don't know. Yeah. But she started crying. I was like, but you deserve it. And So I got a big old Brenda hug, and Nicole Oliver came over, Princess Celestia, what's going on, and it's like, oh, and then I got a Princess Celestia hug. And I was just walking on air for the rest of the evening,
Actually,
because I still adore Princess Celestia, even though they wharf her every time. I still think the world of Celestia.
Yep.
Best pony by definition.
Yeah. Actually, I do have one other cast story I can tell. The year 2015, when we went up to Everfree Northwest, and I was sitting I was co-sharing a table with Screwloose in the dealer's room. And at one point, this, in her 20s, mid-20s, gal came over, and she started looking at my work, and we started talking about drawing and everything, about the fact that she was going to school and she was studying illustration. And then it finally dawned on me, I looked at her badge, and she was one of the guests, and was Maddie Peters, the voice of Scootaloo. Scootaloo is going to school and is studying how to be an illustrator. Maddie is, for which school in Florida she's going to, or at least she was at that time. And we haven't communicated a huge amount since then, but we've actually gone back and forth on a couple occasions. And
she was at the premiere of Peter's movie. She was at, our table.
Yeah, and I actually gave her some feedback, gave her some constructive criticism. She gave me some feedback on my work, and she does voice work, but she'd love to be an illustrator someday. So it was kind of cool being able to talk to her about well, this is what it takes, and this is what I do, and here's the process, and here's maybe some things your instructors have told you, and maybe there's some things your instructors haven't told you, because everybody has a different knowledge base.
Mimir, that's exactly the problem that leads to the Worf effect. Worf from Star Trek, That and the way that the writers use it is talk up how tough Worf is, then have the alien menace, kick Worf's ass, and then, the rest of the cast solves the problem, but you're supposed to be impressed because, hey, that guy kicked Worf's ass. And then he never gets to win a fight.
Yes.
Same thing happens with Celestia. Of course, the other thing is that because she's the mother figure, you want the show to present the point of view character, Twilight and crew, as solving the problems. What they're missing out on is stories where sometimes you work with your parents as equals to solve the problem, and it takes both of you. But they haven't done anything like that. Not really.
Or for me, what it comes down to is, I think it's an old Russian quote: "The most dangerous place in the world is between a mother and her child."
Yeah,
and that's true. I have seen, ladies who were mothers and parents, and they were, in our case, they were the most, sweet, lovable people in the world, but the moment their children were in danger, and especially if you were the one putting them in danger, well, I hope your life insurance and will and testament are all in place, because you might just need it.
Yeah, because I would love to see something like that where somebody truly threatens Twilight and then Celestia just goes off.
Yeah.
All of the restraint. I didn't call down the sun in a single destructive ray from the sky because I didn't want to blow up Canterlots, as collateral damage, against Chrysalis. Take those gloves off.
Yeah. I would love to see. Or just simply her ponies. Because she considered all the ponies of Equestria to be her part of her herd. Yep. And I would love to see an episode where it's like, I guess my subconscious,
Celestia Unchained.
My subconscious has done kind of that in my dreamscape on a couple of occasions, but I would love to see the show do that. Kind of like how at the end of season 6, when suddenly Discord realized that his waifu had been taken. It was like, yeah, we need to see that.
So let's see. Any other truly moments that stand out?
I had several Peter New. Of course, just being around Peter New is a great source for moments.
Oh, yeah, that's somebody else who does not take himself seriously, is very approachable.
But same time, he's very, very thoughtful. He's like still waters. They hide their depths.
Yes, yeah. He's somebody that feels deeply. Just for we're going back and forth. There's been a lot of moments. An evening with Hayotion.
Oh yes. Yes.
Mr. Dave, could you see if you could find on the roundstable.com, I think it is, Surfing the Big Blue Wave is the name of the article. Hayotion is the band that Ashley Ball is the lead singer for. And again, that's her day job. As far as Ashley's concerned, I'll tip that over. Is that before Pony and voice acting, she was Hayoshin in a Hayoshin band, and when Pony is done, that's going to be her job there. And Pony's this really cool thing that she's doing now on the side. Well, they did a Kickstarter called Bring Hayoshin to the World. They had a new album, they wanted to do a tour, and they financed it through Kickstarter. And one of the higher tier rewards was, so you donate this much, and Hayoshin, if say, will come to your house and give you an acoustic concert in your living room. They call it a house concert. Assuming, of course, that you were anywhere near where they were going, and being in the Bay Area, and that Bay Area is one of their stops, no problem there. I will say this: getting in touch with their Hayoshin's agent to arrange what's the date, what's the time, that was like pulling teeth. Their Hayoshin's management did not do a good job there, but. We had an evening with Hayoshin. They arrived after having driven up from Los Angeles, which was a 400-mile drive. They were exhausted. I had gone. So what I had done is I'd gone. I know that, for instance, organics is important to them. I'd gone out and I bought a bunch of organic ingredients. I made chicken fajitas and
veggie fajitas
and portobello mushroom fajitas. And it's like, okay, you guys. Sit down, eat. Everybody else, I'd invited over about 7 or 8 guests. Leave them the hell alone.
And we did.
Yeah. And just you sit down, eat. Here's the beer. Here's the wine.
Here's the bottled water.
Yeah, exactly. Just relax. You've been on the road for, and apparently it was the first decent meal that they had in about 3 or 4 days, because they had been living on McDonald's. Yes, and then they set up, brought in, Ashley brought in her flute, and Dave Beckingham brought in his guitar. There was Davo was there was Dave and Dave, their drummer, and another guitarist, and of course Bonsai, my dog. It was all about Bonsai, just immediately latched on to Ashley and decided that Ashley was the best person since sliced bread. In fact, during a couple of the songs, he would come up to her and wag and do the whole thing, and finally, she busted up laughing and said, "Okay, this next song is for you," and she dedicated the song "I Am a Heart" to Bonsai. And he just lied down at her feet, and she used him as a footrest, because he was a big fluffy dog, and finished out the concert.
Yeah, oh, that was really cool because my wife and I were there again, and this is for me as a connection thing. That was about 4 days before we got married, and
before they eloped.
Yeah, we eloped and got married. And maybe when my wife is editing this particular tape, if this point comes up, she's going to be kind of, oh, God, you brought this up. But it got mentioned, and they had a new song. Hayoshin had a song that they were testing out, and they played that song for my wife and I. And that was quite a moment. Oh, DJ Horses.
Howdy.
Are you new here, or if you're not, welcome back. If this is your first time, welcome. My name is Baron. Your guy here is Caradwin.
And we tell old man stories while Baron
That's right. Well, I draw.
Yeah. To answer your question, Jen, Bonsai named himself.
Yeah.
He's a Belgian Tervuren, which they look like German Shepherds, but with big, fluffy, collie-length fur, and they have puppy brains forever. And I just got Bonsai. He was called Blue at the time because when he was born, the breeder tied a little bit of yarn of different colors onto each one of the puppies so they can tell them apart. And Bonsai, after making the trip down from Oregon, was exploring the backyard. We had a deck around our hot tub that had about an 18-inch drop off on the side, except where there were steps. And pretty soon he was like going, run, 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 and he would jump off of the edge of the deck, and then go sprawling in, the tall grass to either side. Then he'd go run, 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 and do it again. Banzai! Now he's a show dog, and so he had a show dog name. The owners and breeders owned a private airport, and the kennel was called Sky Acres. So he was Sky Acres Beechcraft Bonanza, or Bonsai, with a call name. He named himself because he was loony.
Okay, I'm just going to step in here a moment so DJ Horse has some context here. I do this for a living, DJ, and one of the things that has made it possible for me to be a professional artist is I have a Patreon account, and I have a tier of $50 a month, and for my $50 a month patrons, once a month I will do a piece of artwork for them, or they can build up their months and get a larger piece. And what this is actually is a study piece for a much larger color piece I'm going to do for one of my longtime supporters. I've never drawn this character before, so I'm going through and I'm trying to get a better feel for what the character Windrammer is like, so before I go to do a painting, I'm not trying to discover the character all of a sudden on the canvas, or not the canvas, but the Bristol board, which would be kind of awkward. And I do this every other week, even though right at the moment I'm in the middle of a 6-week continuous stretch of doing this. Next week I'm going to have one of my former coworkers and great artist on by the name of Jai King, and she's going to be doing encaustic wax painting, which means doing art with blowtorches.
Yes, you show up and get to see her set Baron on fire with a blowtorch.
And meet the most hyperactive person in the world.
She makes Pinkie Pie look like Maud.
Yes.
Truly she does.
Yeah. But we love her.
Yeah. So, yes, and as mentioned, Baron does lucid dreaming, has basically mastered it, and on his DeviantArt account, which you can see a link on the little overlay in the little corner there, he has literally thousands of pictures he has these narratives that
go on for years.
Yeah, exactly. Say they will pick up on another night. It's like a soap opera. There's soap operas in his head.
Yeah.
And then he illustrates them. And for like the My Little Pony stuff, it's like, what if this was serious? What if the things on the show weren't all, it's solved with friendship? It's like, no, that actually required a covert ops operation, and then we had to get somebody in to clean up the bodies.
Or just to a certain extent of, quite often still the solution is much more civilized than we have in our world, but sometimes it does get messy. It gets a little bit more, and Celestia has ruled for 1,000 years in Equestria. You don't do that just by being nice and smiling and waving at people. She has built up a network. She has built up diplomatic connections. She knows how the game is played.
Yep, and again, when you're the protector of a kingdom,
and never ever play poker with Celestia.
Oh yeah.
Or what's more scary is watching Patina and Celestia play poker. That does actually happen in my dreamscape at one point.
And I imagine Patina isn't used to losing.
No, it was even though she gives Celestia a good run for the money.
Yeah.
But Celestia plays a much longer game.
Yeah.
Because she's that guy mindset.
Let's see. Yeah, Baron did do several furlough covers.
And I do have a couple other dreamscapes. I have my Ander dreamscape and I have my Angel and Night dreamscape. They kind of went on hiatus for a while, but they are slowly starting to basically come back out of stasis and starting to become a little bit more active and common. I got time. Crap! I keep on thinking I'm almost out of time on these pictures.
Sometimes the art just happens quick.
Yeah.
Could Maud Pie play poker with Celestia? That would be interesting. Because the thing is that I could see Celestia originally, I can't read her at all, and of course Maud doesn't try to read. There's a say you play the cards or you play the person.
And Maud would play the cards.
Yes, exactly, and I would imagine Maud winning at first, and then Celestia very slowly clawing her way back.
Yeah.
But it's like, wow, that was not easy.
Well, the one thing I would love to see them do in the series, because they've stated that Maud does it, I want to see an episode where Maude does stand-up, because supposedly she does stand-up comedy, because she mentions that.
Oh, the whole Stephen Wright thing.
Yeah, I imagine it'd be basically a Stephen Wright as a pony.
Yep. Yeah, did we do the University Art plug, by the way?
I think we did. Yes, we have.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we're good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. A free bonus. Okay. we have a sponsor, University Art. Baron used to work there. They're sponsoring with art supplies. We love them. They sometimes lurk. Hi, Mike. Hi, Jeff.
And this next Saturday, they're having a big, awesome sale. They have it only twice a year. It's an amazing thing, especially if you need to have custom framing done, because they offer you gigantic discounts for custom framing if you go in.
There's a free bonus plug.
Yes.
Yeah. Can we change the rules of poker so they both win? Yeah, we call it strip poker. Well, wait, they're naked already. Never mind. Yeah.
Hey, there's going to be a point. It's not immediate, but within the next year or so, people are going to get to see Celestia in a sneaky suit. Because that's a thing. It happens.
Yep. Celestia. I got 4 aces. Maud Pie. I got a rock.
Yeah.
A big rock. Oh, I fold.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, of course, that would be, Texas Hold'em, and you have 4 aces in the middle. Yeah, and it's like, Celestia has the queen kicker. Let's call her feet. But Maud's like, I have a king. I'm sorry. Yeah, cloth poker.
Yeah.
Does that pony have the Texas A&M logo as his key?
I was wondering if someone was going to notice that. Yes, he has a cow skull for his.
The character's name is Yeehaw.
Yeah, I think it's Windrammer, but it's like I was drawing it going, that looks familiar. Oh yeah. Wonder if anyone's going to comment. Well, yeah, they did. You guys are awesome.
Yep, yeah, he is indeed a handsome fellow.
Yep.
Aces and eights. Yeah, traditionally aces and eights with the queen of spades kicker. I don't know how true the queen of spades kicker part is. But yeah, dead man's hand.
Yep.
Yeah, so when we used to have poker nights here, and the house rule was that the dead man's hand, aces and eights with the queen of spades kicker, was the highest hand in the house, but it had to be natural. You couldn't wild card it.
Yeah.
And it actually happened once. And no, it didn't beat 4 aces. I think the other person had a straight or something like that. All right, we'll see you later, Nightwing.
Glad you could drop by.
Yeah, A&M is the Aggies, not the Longhorns. Okay. Well, trust a Texan. This story must be true. I heard it from a Texan. Longhorns is University of Texas, and I imagine that the rivalry is legendary.
Yep, kind of like here in the Bay Area, the Stanford and Cal games.
UTEP.
Yeah.
I think it's University of Texas El Paso. I think. Yeah.
So yeah, I am approaching a couple of milestones on DA again. One, I'm coming up on my 2,000th post.
McClaw was 2 pair. Yeah. So you're coming up on your 2,000th post.
2,000 post. And you guys are really following me and keeping track of what I'm doing on DA, because I'm averaging about 1,000 page views every other day. So this means, I had my 400,000th page view in like July, and I'm already fast tracking towards 500,000. So I really want to thank you guys for spreading the news and letting our folks know about me, because I have been picking up watchers on a fairly steady pace now on DA. Used to be about 2 a day, now I'm picking up about 6 to 8.
Yeah, Pink Pony says, it'd be interesting to see Equestria Girls, sort of redone with the new software, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, for the movie, and see if those god-awful chins disappear.
Well, also, too, they need to work out the proportions on the legs so the run cycles don't look so
Yeah.
Creepy.
Yeah. And Army for Tomorrow wants to know if in your brain Celestia has seen or participated in an MLP-style Rorke's Drift.
Not to my knowledge. Yeah, it kind of surprised me too, Pink. I was kind of going, okay, yeah. And then I just noticed that, okay, yeah, okay. I was coming up on 400,000. I hit 400,000, and that took me like 7 years to get there. And then I just started noticing, wait a minute, I'm picking up like 1,000 every other day.
These things do hit critical mass and take off.
Wow. Same way like with my Twitter follow, I'm starting to pick up people now. It's like, okay, the time from 400 to 500 was shorter than it was, to get to 300, from 300 to 400, and now 500 to 600, it's less. And now I'm already having to think in terms of my 900th follower on Twitter. But of course, because Bettina is insisting at least up to 1,000, we have to celebrate every time it happens, and she insists that we have to drag Fluttershy along for the ride.
Yep. Yep. No movie reviews.
Mm-hmm.
You say, but yeah, the thing about the Dead Man's Hand and stuff like that is it's a legendary thing. That means it's malleable, and there are local versions of it, and the whole bit. So you're gonna see variants.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it don't matter. They look like eggs with faces and wigs. And Jigormo boots that taper in the wrong direction.
Yes.
Because they don't have calf muscles.
Yes. There was quite a few people. I need to get back to doing some more questions because people really liked the color piece I did of the CMC from Rainbow Rocks. I have a Sunset Shimmer piece in the works I need to get around to doing. It was kind of interesting going through and taking the characters and saying, okay, if I was doing them in my style, what would their individual builds be like? Okay, Rainbow Dash has a different build than AJ, and AJ has a different build than Rarity does. And Pinky's a bit more plump because Pinky's hyperactive, but Pinky has
She eats all the cake.
She has a 5,000 calorie a day diet.
And she burns 4,999.
Yep.
Yeah, pipe cleaner.
Her limbs.
Or as DWK said, you can't even have elbows.
Yes. What do I look like? Well, yeah, but your merch is probably going to suck.
Yeah, so the only other universe that MLP has crossed over with officially, besides the Question Girls universe, is Hot Topic.
Mm-hmm.
No, they had a couple of the characters did their hot minutes where they're talking about their stuff, and then they get to plug merch.
Yeah.
But Applejack had her hot minute, and Pinkie Pie had
and
her
Rainbow Dash had hers.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Can't remember if they did Rarity or Twilight or Fluttershy. What?
Has Fluttershy ever put her hoof down against Bettina and that whole clothing thing for Okay, and then for this one you're going to dress like this? No.
Not yet. Not yet for that. Now, in the Dreamscape, yes, there's been some times when Fluttershy said no.
But this is just a joke, seriously.
Yeah,
that's not canon.
No, this is not canon. And even though Bettina has said if she hasn't worked up some ideas for certain things by the time the milestones come around, she has contingency plans for other people.
Yep. Oh, Angi, the term brothel is actually fairly neutral.
Mm-hmm.
Again, seedy, disreputable. There's other words for that, at least locally around here. Of course, remember, I spent a couple of years in Nevada where that sort of thing is legal. Or at least, and terms like whorehouse are not really used except by truckers.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Ari, no aspersion meant. But again.
And if you happen to hear some sirens, there is a thoroughfare nearby us where they use to get to places when they have calls. No, Cared One's house is not on fire and burning down.
I hope not, anyway. Yeah.
I would expect Brian would tell us if something had gone horribly wrong in the kitchen.
Yeah. But I suspect things are going horribly right. So
Yes, by the smells coming out of the kitchen, yes.
Oh, yeah.
This last hour is going to be torture for me.
yeah, I think I see somebody new. Is Womp HG, are you new? If so, welcome. If not, well then welcome back. Yeah, there's actually a firehouse not too far down the road. Let's see. Checking the list here.
And not the metal band from the 80s, Firehouse.
Zoe, are you new? Are you the Zoe from Brushfire? And Runestroke Draws. I don't think I've seen you before, but if I missed you, well, sorry. But otherwise, welcome.
Yes.
Let's see who else we got. Anybody else new that we've missed? Cybertronic Pony. New.
Yeah. We're very, very friendly. Say hi in the chat.
Yep. Not that, Zoe. Yeah. See, for folks that don't know, since we're talking about brothels, there's an artist named Brushfire. He does a very cute series of comics. And
not safe for work, if I remember correctly.
I know. And has a Patreon. The comics are they're fun, they're sexy, they're entertaining. The characters are just cute in a button. Victor is a grade A jerk. I think I'm all dominant and stuff.
Don't mince words, Carolyn. Tell us how you really feel.
I think that fella is the cutest thing. There's a unicorn named Felicia. But the point of view character is Zoe, who is an Okapi, who's going to work at the stable, which is a house of interesting repute. And she's one of the new girls, and there's girls and guys there. And it's all about her adaptation to the life. It's all consensual. So it's in that particular world, it's just it's a perfectly fine way for people to make their living. Oh, so from what I gather, the character lives in a brothel, right? Yeah, that's right. I'm the bouncer. I make sure that people.
Well, I mean, what the heck? I mean, Patina, that was her original thing. She went to Michigan State University to get her degree in business management, and posed for the girls of the Pac-10, or Pac-12 now. It was the Pac-10 back then when I had the first bit about this. And starred in a couple amateur type adult entertainment things, and got herself headhunted by an establishment in New Orleans, which is where she originally is from, called the Mousetrap. And it was down there working at the Mousetrap that she met her lover and business partner and partner in crime, Jackie. And then after a few years, they quit and they started their own private service. And Patina was supposed to be a walk-on camera, just deliver a few lines in a comic book I was working on, and then walk off. And that concept lasted about 20 seconds when she effectively grabbed the camera in my head and said, "I'm not going anywhere. I have things to say." That was 1992, and I've been stuck with her ever since.
Yeah, Brown Bear. Didn't I see you from Fremont a long time ago?
Yeah, Brown Bear. Hi.
Yeah. The name of the comic is The Stable. It's not MLP related or anything like that. And again, it shows up at various aggregator sites, but Patreons get to see it early. Again, it's a very cute, very fun. It's a very fun strip. And it's again, I give Brushfire a buck or two.
Yep.
It's worth it. Let's see. But yeah, the early things that no, I don't live in a brothel. I used to live in Nevada, where depending on a county by county basis, depending on the population. Again, the big counties are Clark County, which is where Las Vegas is, and there's Ormsby County, which is Carson City, and Washoe County, which is Reno. But most of the other counties have a low enough population where houses of such repute are allowed. Not all of them that can do. It's up to the local county. but I used to live in Lyon County, Lyon, and they had 5 of the places. They had Kit Kat, the Starlight, the Moonlight, the Sagebrush, and the Mustang Ranch.
War Skunk, are you new? If you are, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. My name is Baron. This is Caredwin. We're going to be going to a 5-minute intermission break in just a little bit here, and then I'll come back and I'll be continuing to work on Patreon rewards for folks. We usually do this every other Saturday. We're just getting near the end of a 6-week stretch.
Indeedy. Yeah. And oh, by the way, when I was living in Nevada at the time, within a mile of 3 of these places, I was 12. So I don't know what the inside of one of those places looks like. But
that's 820. Why don't we switch cameras here?
Okay,
I got that.
I'm pushing the button.
You're pushing the button. Let's quickly sign this. Not too bad Marshall didn't show up tonight. I'll just email him.
Oh, that's awful.
What?
Patino posed for Plowboy. the All Farm Girls episode.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Army Person, we will see you later on. We will be back next week with Jaya King, who she is, oh gosh, she's energetic. Oh,
yes.
Boy. And and then we're back on the 2-week schedule. Are you going to be going after Jaya week back to a regular week and then resuming the normal 2 week?
Well, I'm going to skip a week, actually. So after Jaya next week, our next stream will be on the 28th of October.
Yep, that's the day before my birthday.
Yeah, all right. Well, I'll have to make sure I do a Patreon reward for you then at that time. And we'll have it there, but I'm going to take a week off so that I can take care of some stuff. Jen, glad you can drop by tonight.
Yep. All right, and we'll see you later on. Okay, well, we're going to go ahead and...
Break
don't push the button. No, Didi, do not push the button. Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll take it there and see you in 5.
5 minutes.
Get up and stretch.
And indeed, we are back.
We are back. After a quick trip down to the kitchen to seeing the amazing things that Brian's making for dinner. I'll post it up on my Twitter, guys. It's pretty impressive for tonight.
Tweet what you eat. Tweet who you meet.
It's some pretty impressive stuff he's doing tonight.
Yeah, now if you want to see somebody, by the way, that has a really impressive collection of classic cartridge games, that would be Mike the Microphone. He has a Twitch channel. That's how he makes his living.
Yep.
Yeah, so look up Mike Feedback, MIC _feedback on Twitch. He's one of the biggest Twitch channels out there, and he has an incredible collection of, old cartridge systems and games for them.
And it's really kind of amazing to watch him because he's not the best gamer in the world, but I've watched his streams.
But he's good.
He's good, and he's entertaining, and he gets you hooked into on the game, basically.
Well, it was actually from him that I got a lot of early tips on how to arrange the.
He helped us out a lot, too, so we're kind of returning the favor.
Probably not, Agni. Probably not. Thank you, Sylvan. This really helps using lapel mics as opposed to
the booms that we were using for a while.
These guys right here.
Yeah. I mean, at some point we'd like to take it to the next level, but that is going to cost a fair bit of money.
Yeah, that's
Sennheiser's.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later on there. I may be starting a small Patreon of my own just to upgrade equipment here because this is going to get used. This room is going to get used by Baron and others.
Yeah. Basically, part of what we're building here is something that just not for me, but other artists in the area who can come in and use this as a resource, because a lot of people don't have access to this kind of stuff or the knowledge of how to pull this all together. And Caredwin talks about hitting things with hammers and everything like that, pushing buttons, but quite often, especially when Windows decides to do an update or something like that.
So then the other part of the job involves
cursing and swearing.
Yeah, exactly. Germanic 4-letter words. A few from other languages as well. So I've learned, "Sukblat."
Yeah, I mean, and someone who's in our chat, Larsis, can understand because Larsis does this for a living and is,
DJ, 4 hours.
Yep, we do this for 4 hours from 5:30 to 9:30
Pacific time.
Pacific time.
Alternate weekends, except for next weekend, which is going to be another one.
Yes.
Actually, I have to see how EQLA aligns up with that
Well, it's October 28th, and then EQLA is like November
14th.
Yeah, 14th. So
I
I may do it back to back October 28th, and then do one right after that. But I'm taking a week off. My wife would like to spend a Saturday with me.
What a concept.
Yeah. So yeah, Jaya is next weekend. The Loud one is next weekend. Have we put the link to her?
I am Master Carradine Hammer, MC Hammer. Yo.
Oh, have we put up the link to the Joker YouTube? Cat's Paw, if you can happen to track down and put that in the chat, I think some people might really find that interesting.
Yeah, the Joker process is what it's called. Yeah, it's a speed paint of how she does. She did her illustration of Heath Ledger's Joker.
Yeah, basically, Brown Bear, I'm deliberately holding off on not updating to High Sierra on my Mac because Wacom has said flat out they don't have the drivers ready yet, and I don't want to break my tablet.
Right, and I could get into the technical reasons why that's the case, but let's just say that Apple has very heavily tightened up security on drivers and other low-level, things like that on Mac OS because people were abusing it.
So, but
they can't play nice, then we're gonna,
So I'm gonna hold on that, especially because my wife is gonna start kicking me out of my studio area and hopping on my Cintiq and is gonna start doing streams, and I'm gonna be doing what he's doing, basically with headphones on and typing on a keyboard. All right, we're now the last hour.
Who are we doing?
She hasn't shown up tonight, but I wanted to get her piece done because I need to get Patreon work done for her. I'm gonna be working on something of Rubber Vixens.
Okay.
So I'm gonna be working on one of her characters. So why don't we just turn this around, and I'm going to change my glasses. Ha ha. You guys can't get the neg. Yes. Oh, I loved it when Twilight did that in the first episode. Oh, come on, Twilight. Oh, God, that was great. Okay, so let's put this...
Cat's Paw, if I remember right, Alt Space. Either that or F11. But
glass crap.
Paying the rent is important. Oh, come on.
Paying rent is very important. That's why.
Push the button.
That's why
I play keyboards.
Yes, actually, for some of our new people, they've never experienced the magic that is Carradine at the keyboard. And if you upgrade to our premium plan, you get free earplugs. And Toxic is in the house.
Indeed. Cat's Paw, if you could dig up on YouTube, Jaya King, The Joker Process. It's basically Jaya's video on how she did her illustration of the Joker. Yeah, I think if you just search for the Joker Process, you're there. And hello, Mr. Toxic.
And if that doesn't work, you can always go to my DeviantArt, because in one of my journal postings when we were saying, hey, she's coming, I actually posted a link to her YouTube.
So we're doing what are we doing? We are making a commission for Baron is making a commission.
We'll just stuff.
Yeah, for Rubber Vixen.
Long time supporter and friend, and she's one of my $50 a month patrons, so she gets a drawing, and that's what I'm working on right now.
And let's see over here. I'm going to push this over here. Oh, no, you don't fall down. You're made of blueberries, though. You don't fall down on my carpet. Don't fall down.
That'd be bad.
Blueberries.
Is that your blueberry lemonade?
And that's the Diabolo. Let's see.
Those aren't bad.
It's okay.
It's okay.
I'm probably not going to buy it again, but it's okay.
They're kind of...
I will put that over there where it's safe.
Okay. I can see what's happening. Aha! My lead was getting short. I could feel that. Unfortunately, I was a smart artist, and before this stream, I went through and made sure all my things were properly loaded up with lead.
I am instructed, by the way, to show this to you.
What's this? Oh!
Try button.
Very nice. Very, very nice.
Thank you, mysterious person who sent me that.
Yes.
Yeah, there we go. Cat's paw's good.
Yeah. Cat's paw knows his job.
Yeah.
You know, well, once again, oh yeah, Baron has this amazing stream. Why have this amazing stream? Because I have a couple people basically covering my back. This guy here who pounds on hammers, and Cat's Paw who's downstairs basically moderating and looking up links and putting them in the chat for folks. This is a team effort in some ways. These guys make me look good.
So, Toxic wants to say, what's the best part of a wedding? Well, hopefully not your own.
Not having to pay for it.
Oh, yes.
And now this is something because when my wife and I decided we were finally going to get married after we lived together for about 15 years, we decided that we were going to go out and we were just going to get married. And we did real nice and simple up in the Gold Country at her folks' place around Tuolumne, and we had a guy come in who was a reformed biker, really kind of a cool dude, who did our service and everything like that. We did in the basically the town park on Valentine's Day, so I can always remember when our anniversary is. And but one of the things we decided was we had just gotten ourselves out of debt from having closed our last company, and the last thing we were going to do was get in $30,000 of debt for basically a one-day party.
New.
So our gift to each other for our wedding was we weren't going to put ourselves into debt that way.
All right, we'll see you later, Pinky. Hopefully you have better luck next time there.
Yeah.
If you're having audio trouble, I'm going to suggest make sure your browser is current, particularly if it's Chrome.
Mm-hmm.
Not that there's anything wrong with Chrome, but they embed all their own audio libraries and stuff like that themselves. So if something goes wrong, it's usually in the browser.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The best part is when the elderly poke you and say, "You're next."
Oh, I love that. My parents' stream was like NASCAR.
Oh, no, I'm the guy with a giant lug wrench going,
You don't understand this, Zimmy. When I was a little kid growing up in LA, this was before ESPN or cable TV really existed. You could only get, and my dad and I were huge NASCAR nuts. So you couldn't catch NASCAR except for ABC's Wide World of Sports would show a little bit of a race through the course of one of their programs. So stock car racing for us was Sunday morning out in the garage, listening to it on the local country western radio station and having a chalkboard of sorts where we would keep track of who was in what place in the race by listening to the radio announcer.
The best way to describe NASCAR driving, particularly if you see some of the coverage and you see the cameras inside the car. Yeah, they go fast and they turn left, but it's a knife fight.
Yes.
I mean, so you are constantly jostling with each other and trying to nudge the guy out of the way without putting him into the wall and killing him,
or putting yourself
into the wall and going down with him there. Yeah. It is a knife fight.
Yeah, my dad used to NASCAR race.
Yeah, Baron's father was a professional racer for many, many years.
Yeah, and like many professionals, like me sitting here drawing, the true sign of a professional is they make it look easy. And the G-forces and the heat. Even with my dad running a cool suit, which was designed, the early ones had a block of ice and they'd pump water through that and they'd cool it. And eventually they went to like little miniature air conditioning refrigerating units. And even still, my dad would lose 15 pounds sometimes in the course of an afternoon.
He could have survived fursuiting.
Because that was them pumping him full as much liquids as they could during pit stops. It's hellish. If you're down there in the south and you're wearing a fireproof suit and fireproof underwear underneath that, and fireproof gloves, and you have a helmet, and even if they're pumping cool air through your helmet, my dad, even with fireproofing, had one car that wasn't properly set up, and they didn't have enough insulation for the exhaust manifold, which passed right underneath the driver's compartment. He finished a 200-mile race with first-degree burns on the bottoms of his feet because his feet had been heated for so long.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well done steak. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. No, a speed racer was just part of my upbringing.
Yep.
And the recent movie was,
like a lot of Hollywood's attempts on doing anime. It's like, owie.
Yeah. Now, say, imagine guys driving at 200 miles an hour next to each other, leaning out of their windows with, a 3/4 inch, box end wrench in their hand, beating on each other's doors and saying, "Get out of my way!" That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Oh, that is a ride. Deathlight is looking at a Dodge 1949 two-door
coupe. Oh,
sweet.
If you get it, you have to post photos on the stream here. That's just absolute requirement. If you don't do that, we're going to take action.
Can I borrow your car for a date? Not with anybody else, with the car.
Yeah. Oh, you were in Richard Childress's shop. Sweet. Yeah, when I was a kid growing up, I grew up in airport hangars, hobby shops, gun shops, and garages in Southern California. My dad was a photographer for Peterson Publication in the 1950s and 60s, so he knew Dean Moon and all the people in the Southern California Speed Association. Ascot Speedway, Lions Speedway, Pomona Speedway, those were all places of my youth. When I was a kid growing up, I thought I was so unlucky because I never got to go to Magic Mountain as much as all my neighbors' friends. And then when I got older, all my classmates in college told me, "Oh my God, you had such a cool childhood. You spent all this time in garages and airplane hangars and,
Yeah. Oh yes, the Speed Racer parody in Dexter's Laboratory was magnificent. Yeah.
Even though I have to admit, I thought the Cartoon Network just bumper commercial they had about the Mystery Mobile.
Deathlight, if you need to sell your grandmother's kidney to get that car, you should do that. God will understand.
Just out of curiosity, what shape is it in? Is it, you need to
apparently he said he needed to rebuild the motor, but.
Okay, well, that's fine. Is the chrome still intact? Is most of the body panels in good shape? Is it a Sun Country car that doesn't have a whole lot of corrosion and rust to it? How much of it do you have actually to start with, and how much of it is coming in boxes? Basically generic. Our first company, we had set up a particular way because we were hoping to do a lot more work in the entertainment industry, so we set up as an LLC, limited liability company. And it really was more company than we ended up needing, and just because the way you do things with an LLC, and it was our first company, and we made a few bad decisions. We got in the hole and just had a certain amount of debt we just couldn't pull out of, and we had a choice basically. We could let trying to run the company destroy our relationship, or we could save our relationship and let jettison the company, and that's what my wife and I did in 2007. I then spent the next 3+ years paying off all the debt.
Lego, your mom has a good ride. 65 Mustang.
Oh, 65, yes.
Yeah, I have a 2014 Mustang.
Does she got the 6, or does she have the 289 in it?
Or the 350.
Well, in 1965, you would have had, I think the 289 would have been your biggest. It was in 67, they went to the larger body so they could put the 350s in there.
Yeah, and the hatchback, body, fastback rather style.
Yep. And she has a 289 with the high pow package. That was sweet for its time period. Oh, you have a 2009 Kia Rio. I have a 2012 Kia Soul, and I love it. It's a fun car to drive. It gets good gas mileage. It has enough storage space in it where the
And it's very red.
it's a very very rich chrome red pigment they've used for the paint. And yes, that's me being an art geek and going off on the pigment color. All right. Well, I hope you can join us, DJ. Well, like I said, we're doing this again next week. Next week's going to be incredibly awesome. Hope you can tune in.
Does it come with a hamster?
No, it doesn't come with a hamster.
There was that series of ads that had it was a CG, yo.
Yeah. And I got the Soul Plus because it came with the 2-liter engine, which gave you about an extra 50 horsepower over the little 1.5 liter. And that makes a difference getting on the freeway.
Yeah. Toxic, as far as we'll say, is go see it. But right now we're embargoing any kind of detailed reviews or anything like that. People need to form their own opinions.
Yeah.
69 Dodge Charger. The company that I worked for back in the late 90s, early 2000s, the CEO collected Barracudas.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He had a beautiful 1970 446 pack that I've never seen once.
Yep. Bright red with a with a modern black vinyl top, modern interior. He was not into restoring it to showroom stock. He made them better.
Yeah. Well,
it's like, yes, modern materials are very nice. Thank you very much.
Well, also he had things like 3-point seat belts in it too, and everything.
Right, and he would drive that thing 2 or 3 times a week. Now, he was kind of like me in that he hated garage queens. Nothing sadder than a car that isn't driven or a gun that isn't fired.
Or a plane that isn't flown.
Yeah, but the first car was a 1971 Plymouth Duster with a 318 V8. And it did a little bit of build up on it, carbs, manifold, exhaust. It was nice.
My first car was a 1965 Ford Falcon, and I was going to go because I found out that actually I could get the mount changes for it. I was going to do because you could order the Falcon with the hypo package that the Mustang had, and which made it actually kind of a sleeper of a car.
Toxic wants to know about Demolition Derby. AC Race Best.
Yes.
Does demolition derbies all the time. He goes and finds pieces of crap cars. He paints them like yellow and pink like Fluttershy, puts the cutie marks on it, and goes in and runs into people with it.
Yes.
AC Race Best, the guy who does the Bronies React.
One of the Bronies Reacts people.
Right. So so he's our demolition derby guy.
And the thing that's really amazing, he also does announcing at races at Irwindale Speedway, which was one of the places along with Ascot and Pomona and Lion Speedway that a lot of my youth got spent. So, I know. Of course, Irwindale now looks like absolutely nothing like the dirt track I used to go out to.
Okay, guys, that's a landmine topic. No more. But yeah, no, the Duster I don't think was ever available with a 426 Hemi. It was a 318. It was basically their equivalent of the small block.
Yep.
It could be, I think it was a 318 or a 340, depending upon how it was bored out.
Yep.
Kind of like the 383 and I think it was the 440 were also in the same family. I think, if I remember right, and someone will correct me if I'm wrong, I think the 426 Hemi was its own thing.
Yes, okay, once again, here I'm going back and remembering old stuff. I believe it came out originally the 440 Cross Ram, but yeah, they developed that as their own engine, and originally they weren't going to put that on the market. That was going to be an engine they were developing strictly for NASCAR, and then NASCAR kind of said, look guys, if you're going to be doing this, it's not stock car racing anymore. You got to offer this on the market. And so they went, okay, fine, and they did. And it's funny because everyone remembers Chrysler from that time period. Oh, yeah, the Chrysler and the Hemis and everything. And they have built far more Hemis since they brought back the Hemi engine with the Chrysler 300C around 2002 than they ever built during the golden age of muscle cars.
Oh, yeah, they're cranking out them crate motors right now, too.
Oh, yeah, and you can buy them and drop them in, and they're amazing motors.
Well, of course, then there's always the Demon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Demon. Well, I mean, heck, some of the engines that Ford is making that you can buy and drop into your car. Yeah, my dad, 69 Ford Talladega Torino.
Wasn't that the Starsky and Hutch car?
No, that was the Starsky and Hutch had a 1976 Grand Torino. My dad had a 1973 Grand Torino. It's the car I learned how to drive in with a 351 Cleveland.
Yeah.
And that was a car that I had lots of fun my senior year in high school.
Yeah. My Mutterfer, you are so right. My Mo Power friends, that have 383s and 440s, they get several gallons per mile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the other thing, too, now about things like the Hemis and everything with, their displacement on demand stuff where it'll cut out the cylinders that aren't being required for cruising and everything. It's amazing. Even your car, the gas mileage you can get out of it. And that's 400 ponies.
If I set the cruise control at, say, 65 and have the top up, it'll get 28, 29 to the gallon.
Yeah, and that's just amazing.
But I never do that.
No. But even when we took that trip down to EQLA a few years back, you got far better mileage than it would have been, like, say, in 1970.
Yeah. Speaking of EQLA, we'll be there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I really do like the current Ford Coyote motor. It's not the most advanced motor in the history of anything, but you can get anything for it, and it's easy to work on, and it's reliable.
Mm-hmm. Who is this? This is not Jackie Leon. Good thought. You're going to have to forgive me. Rubber Vixen's not in the chat here, so she can't tell me what the character's name is. I've just got, a thing of October.
But yes, it's a character with with runner blades. Yeah.
Yeah, she's. I need to just go and change it. She actually has prosthetic. I'm going to adjust them up here in this moment. She's got prosthetic arms and legs.
Oh yeah, probably. They say Hemi. That's because the crown of the piston is domed. The idea was to get a more efficient fuel burn out of a very large displacement motor. And it worked. We have better answers now. Like good quality port fuel injection and
engine management software.
Yeah, but
in 1964, when the first one came out, it was something amazing.
Oh yeah,
and it set the world on fire.
Yeah, I say, but if Toxic wants to know dream cars, I'm driving it. The only thing I do is bolt on a supercharger, and I may do that someday. Yeah, I have a 2014 Mustang convertible with a 5-liter V8, 420 horses. The only thing I would do is say to it really is again put on the supercharger and the upgraded fuel injectors and exhaust to go with it. But otherwise, I wouldn't change it. It's great as is. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and it's a great car for going on long trips, too.
It has long legs.
It's got nice long legs. It's got good, comfortable seating and good ergonomics, so you get to the end of 500 miles, you don't feel like you're The Walking Dead.
Yeah. And the other thing is that having a large displacement motor means that to maintain, say, the 40 or 50 horsepower that you need to go down the road at 65 miles an hour, it just needs like 1,800 RPM.
Yeah.
While a turbo four-banger might need, to be going at 3,000 or 3,500 RPM or more. And that the difference in vibration will exhaust you even though you don't know it.
Yeah, that's one of the things actually I'm very happy about the Kia Soul I've got is that it works very, very well at cruising speeds. It drops down to like 2,000 RPMs because they've got the gearbox. It's got enough, gears in it to find the gear it needs to keep operating.
See you later, Brown Bear.
Glad you could join us. But that's one of the reasons why I went for the Plus, because the Plus had that larger engine. It has a better, it was the year they changed their fuel injecting and went with a different engine mapping system, and it was much, much better.
Yeah. Yeah, so Pink Pony, do we know the backstory of why this character has prosthetic limbs?
Offhand, no, I don't. I get the impression that she's one of these people who takes upon interesting jobs, and one of her jobs went particularly bad, if I remember the brief description that went along with the character. I will be contacting her, and when I find out some more information, I'll pass it along in the posting when I put it up on DeviantArt. Or when I put the thing up on Twitter. Quite often when I put things up on Twitter, I'll put a link to DeviantArt, which has the more expanded, because you have more than 140 characters to talk.
Yep. Yeah, I'm just debating. I'll probably go with the Ford Racing instead of the Roush. Ford Racing Stage 3, and mostly because it won't void my extended warranty. And it's California Air Resources Board approved, so I don't have to
Oh, that's
deal with a
nice.
bunch of BS. Yeah.
Getting it smogged is not a problem.
Yeah, 660 horses.
Dang, that's an awful lot of,
That's a whole herd of ponies.
yes. And the fact that you can do that and have a comfortable ride and have air conditioning and cruise control and all that stuff that
Yep, and it's very red.
it's basically Ken, which is the name we given our Kia Soul. My wife named it that after Street Fighter.
Yes, the Mach 1, the Ford Mustang Mach 171.
Yeah.
Pretty cars.
Yep.
They command a premium.
Yes, they do. Oh, especially now. I have to admit, one of the things when I was in college, I had one of those. Looking back of hindsight, I went, "Oh darn, I wish I had done it." I had an option to buy a 1970 Plymouth Barracuda with a 446 pack, and it only had about 25,000 miles on it. And the guy was offering it for $3,000, but the interior was needing some help. And I went, nah.
Yeah. So Pravo suggests that Patina might need to know somebody who is exactly 11 inches tall. I would say they could then form a duet band called Letter Size. Yeah. Chrysler's first Hemi was built for the P-47 Thunderbolt. Well, these days I mostly fly Cessnas, so you know.
Well,
360 cubic inch four-banger.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, not necessarily because the P-47 Thunderbolt, of course, ran a radial engine. But the hemispherical dome combustion chamber might have been. That I don't know. But they were cooled radials. That was one of the advantages of it. You could shoot the living bejeebers out of them, and the plane would still come back.
Yep. The red ones go faster. Well, if you are a Warhammer 40K player,
You get that job.
and you're playing orcs, yes, they do go faster, and that means it costs more points. You know, in Warhammer, orcs are a mildly psionic race, and their collective beliefs become real. They believe that their spaceships, which are made of wood and rivets, are airtight. So they are, and they believe that painting it red makes it go faster. So it does. But that also means that when you buy the ships, that you got to pay 5 more points if your miniature is painted red.
Now I have to wonder if you were, say, not an orc and you were on an orcish warship or a spaceship like that, because they believed it was airtight, would it be airtight for you?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Also, the red ones have more DACA.
Yes.
DACA, 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 DACA.
Yes.
Yeah, apparently there is a video somewhere, was it on Forgotten Weapons?
Yeah, Forgotten Weapons, where Ian is basically firing at this firing range in Finland, and he's firing this Finnish light machine gun, and he fires a couple rounds in semi-auto, and he goes, "Now for more DACA." In the background, you can hear all these guys go, "More DACA," and it's all these Finnish soldiers.
More DACA, more DACA, because it goes DACA, 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 DACA.
It's like, yes, it's become a cultural common, a shared thing we have around the world.
We've infected.
Yes.
Yeah. The red ones go faster, and they have more DACA, because that's what orcs do. P-47 developed was an inverted V-16, which is one of the reasons why they would belch so much blue smoke when they started. The oil would collect.
Well, maybe the initial one, but the ones.
But the AA decided it wasn't
what the radial engine. Yeah. I've actually rather extensively studied the P-47 for a client commission I did a few years back.
Yeah, the Army Air Corps decided it wasn't worth the upgrade to disrupt the supply chain, but Chrysler got a lot of experience with high compression motors.
Yep.
Yeah, and once again, and radials, at the time, were a very well proven, high horsepower technology. I mean, my dad flew a Hellcat, and I was a radial.
Yeah. Well, the Navy loved radial engines for the U.S. and even the Japanese, because it was very, very reliable, and it got guys back to the ships.
Yep, and the other thing is it also made for a slightly shorter fuselage, so you could wedge more airplanes onto an aircraft carrier.
Yep, which was always yeah, there's a guy who has a website called Tailhook Topics, and he is the biggest U.S. naval aviation nerd in the world. He writes a series of very excellent books. And one of the things he had on his website, and I actually grabbed the JPEGs of it, was he had schematics that the U.S. Navy came up with. If you have this complement of aircraft on your carrier, here's how you can park them. And there's actually a very specific science to getting the maximum number of aircraft on a flight deck.
Oh, yeah.
In a very particular way.
Exactly. It makes Tetris look like, yeah.
Yeah.
So let's see. Yeah, so if your mice are 8.5 inches tall, what about rats?
Rats generally, a small rat starts at about 9 inches, and a very, very tall rat runs about a foot.
What's the relationship between rats and mice? I mean, are rats looked down on?
Oh, well, okay. This will get a little bit complicated here, but rats have gotten kind of a bum rap in my Ander universe, and it carries over into the Angel and Knight, which is in modern time, and Ander is taking place in the late 14th century in Northeast Africa. Rats, well, there's an awful lot of things that mice, for lack of a better word, kind of, blamed the rats for, and then basically the rats took the heat for it. And for quite some time, there wasn't an awful lot of good blood between rats and mice. But rats did have certain things that they were generally considered good at. A lot of bigums believed, and there may have been some truth at one point when magic was common in the world, that rats knew something about the weather and could control the weather. And so it was very much a thing that you would hire rats if you were a captain of a ship, so that the rats could tell you that there was going to be a storm coming, or could maybe do something to try to calm the weather so that your ship could make it to port. And this was a very valuable thing, but it also meant that the rats had an awful lot of clout, and would sometimes, occasionally, before a ship would sail, would go to the captain and say, "We want more money, or we're not going." And if they didn't get their money, then they would leave. And so sailors would make the observation that when they saw the rats leaving the ship, that they didn't want to get on board it. In modern times, it's not nearly as bad, but it does get kind of interesting, because in Ander, there is one rat in particular that Bettina knows, and it first caused quite a bit of fuss. Now, at the same time, an interesting little thing about Bettina is that she shaves she doesn't get nice even fur on her tail like Jackie does. It's kind of irregular. So she got in the habit of shaving her tail, which means she has a pink tail like a rat has, which a lot of mice went, "Oh my gosh, that's scandalous. You have a naked tail." And she's going, "Well, yeah, so." It still looks awesome.
Actually, the most expensive flight that I've ever been on that I paid for was it was the weekend where I went to a dog show in Carson City and Las Vegas, and it was expensive because I rented the plane and flew it myself. Yeah, I think it was like I had it for 3 days, and burned a lot of fuel on it and all that. And it was about $1,000. Yeah, but so I'm a pilot. I flew it myself. There. Yeah. Rats get a bum rap from everyone in every universe. They don't. In the Pathfinder gaming universe, ratkin are. It's in a lot of human cities. They're just citizens.
Yeah. I mean, in the modern world, in like the Angel and Knight universe, it's not as big of a deal. But in Ander, it does sometimes cause some problems. Now, of course, you have things like the Valhallan Vikings, who actually are mercenaries that work with the Sultan of Ander. And one of their chief top guys is a rat by the name of Siegfried, called the Ice Lord. Now, of course, Siegfried's also a very powerful mage, because he's actually part mortal and part angel. His dad was actually someone from upstairs who had an affair with someone downstairs, and they had a kid. And he's it.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, carried for the Amish Airlines. Yeah, we did not fly with them English. Now, all this talk of airplanes, and here he is doodling a PBY for Inktober.
Who is?
Real Mimir.
Cool.
Nice.
Awesome.
Catalina PBY. Yeah, that's basically a flying boat that was used in the World War II era for rescues, anti-submarine warfare, a little bit of recon,
and attack. And the Black Cats out in the South Pacific.
Yeah.
They actually would go out at night and attack Japanese shipping in those things, and they weren't very, very fast.
Yeah. Yeah. PBY was the military designation for the Catalina. Problem. Yeah.
The PBY-2.
Yep.
There used to be someone down in Southern California when I was living down there who had a PBY, and we'd go down to Long Beach in the summertime. You could watch him practicing doing touch and goes just offshore.
Yeah, that's a flight I'd like to make. One of these days is Avalon.
Fly out to Avalon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, in
Heck of an airport.
Catalina Islands. Yeah.
Yep. Be particularly good if you go out one of the Grumman Gooses.
Yeah. Now the Catalina, the Avalon Airport, the Catalina Islands are off the coast of Los Angeles, about I don't know, 30, 40 miles, something like that, and they have this airport. It's on the northeast end of the island, where the runway begins and ends at the edge of the island, but it's up on a bluff, so it's like this, and you approach, and there's basically a cliff face, and then the runway begins.
I'm sorry, you're correct. Thank you. PY5.
Yep. PY5. Yeah. Oh, say thank you, modifier. We will sneak that in.
Yep.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a very challenging airport, and you have to book it in advance and the whole bit. Yeah.
And as far as the thing about generic, some of them, but that was a common problem with aircraft in general at that time. A lot of how you handle is your tanks got empty and you dealt with the fuel vapors. Everybody had that problem.
Yeah, it's a pretty unburned gas. Yeah.
Yep. So, we need to talk about my former place of employment once upon a time.
There we go. Our hourly duty, yes. We would like to say thank you to University Art for sponsoring Baron by keeping him well supplied with art supplies. University Art is a high-end art supplies and framing store with branches in San Jose, Redwood City, and Sacramento, California. They do museum-quality framing, where your artwork will last for 100 years. They have handled some pretty serious stuff, including original Nobel Prizes, and original Picassos, and Rembrandts, and Durés. It's serious stuff. They also do instruction, seminars, workshops, and craft fairs and all that good stuff. Very knowledgeable employees, some of which we get to borrow and put them on the show and make them draw. And they employed Baron for 20 years, so they're very patient people.
Yes. And next weekend, they're having their one-day sale at all their stores. And that is a twice-a-year very special event for them.
Yeah, it's a good chance to get 30% off on framing. And again, museum-quality framing ain't cheap. So, you got some stuff at Baron's you want framed, Yeah, that'll be the time to get it done.
I like cold silver. I want to make sure that cold silver stuff goes out in the mail on Monday first thing, so he can get up to where he's at, so he can take it in to Sacramento and get some stuff done.
Excellent. Oh, we have another private pilot in the stream. Hey, Ander.
Hey, cool, excellent.
Yeah, I mostly fly 172s with the occasional foray into a Piper if I want a low wing aircraft. But the plane that I would really like is a Mooney M20J, and painted up like Celestia.
Have you done any tail dragger work?
Once. I don't like tail draggers.
I
don't like the loss of visibility.
It is a very different experience.
It is. I mean, low wing aircraft tend to have better performance, particularly at the of course, all you can get is low wings, higher up. But
Andrew Dragonfly is a 172 and a Piper Warrior.
Yep. Those are the ones that, my favorite planes to fly just for relaxing flights. You can't beat a 172. They're flying trucks. The landing gear is a slab of spring steel. That looks like it belongs in a 1932 Ford rear axle. Safest general aviation aircraft out there. Again, you can slam them into the ground and they bounce.
And the most ever built, if I remember correctly. They have not made more than. Oh, sorry to hear about that, Deathlight. That's internet. Their internet's crashing on them. Oh boy, no! Curse you, Brian. I got 15 more minutes. I sure hope there's food ready as soon as we're done.
Stamina of Atlas and Baron shrugged. But Bettina, hold on. Toxic. As long as I handle the takeoff and landing, actually handling an airplane in the sky is pretty easy.
Yeah.
Again, if you take your very first lesson, you will do the takeoff. Whether again, it's dual controls. Your instructor will say, okay, do this, do this, do this, and he'll have his hands hovering over the, or her, hands hovering over the controls. Do this, do this, do this, okay. And the instructor will do the landing, of course. But handling an airplane is not that hard, except within the first 100 feet of the ground.
Yeah, I've done time on a stick in the air, and he's correct. And I mean, I've even done on some acrobatic aircraft where you have to be a lot more careful, especially RVs. RVs, it's like, you put pressure, you don't actually move the stick, you just simply apply pressure to the stick and the plane responds. It's like,
yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, they are. So they're very responsive aircraft. Which model RV did you fly?
RV4.
Okay, that's one of the earlier ones, and that was actually, they've actually made them a little bit less twitchy.
Okay, yeah, but it was very interesting flying it. And of course, we were flying over Reno in the late morning, and that's just as the air started to pick up and the air starts getting kind of dirty and messy over there. But my brother-in-law said, let's go up now, because in the afternoon the air really starts getting rough around his airport.
Okay, story of the riskiest flight. That would be the one where the guy almost ran into me 500 feet in the air. I was a student pilot at the time. I had my first solo. Had not gotten to the plane of license yet. I had about 25 hours. And there was another airport nearby. South County Airport has a single runway, sort of parallels Highway 101, and it doesn't have an air traffic control tower. So what happens in places like that is there's a radio frequency, and the pilots just talk to each other. And there's certain checkpoints that you always say, I'm entering the pattern on the 45. You enter from the 45-degree angle. I'm downwind. You're paralleling the runway in the direction the wind is blowing. I'm turning base, which means you're making the turn, turn to line up with the runway. I'm on final. You're in the last few hundred feet and are lined up with the runway. I'm clear of active. That means that you're on the taxiway and the runway is available. Well, when there is little, the basic rule is you land into the wind. That means that that for a given airspeed, you have a lower ground speed. Your landing roll is shorter. When the wind is still or very light, there's a preferred runway. Again, because runways are bidirectional in almost every case. So we were all students, and we were all just doing, touch and goes, takeoff, landing, the whole bit. And it was just running like clockwork, half a dozen of us in the pattern, play Powerhouse Boogie. And I was taking off, and we're using runway 31, which means 310 degrees magnetic, magnetic compass course. If we were going the other way, it's offset by 180 degrees, it would be runway 13 in this case, for 130 degrees magnetic. So everybody's, runway 31, runway 31, on base, runway 31 final, runway 31 clear of active, so I was climbing out, and just taking off there, still doing the initial, gaining altitude. Looked down, and I lifted the flaps. I looked up. There was an airplane.
Head on.
Right like that. You learn your favorite cuss word, and they teach you slam the stick forward and to the right. You dive down and to the right, and if the other guy does the same thing, you'll just miss each other.
You may have a laundry disaster.
Oh yeah.
But
it was a moment. Of course, get on the radio. Got all South County aircraft got somebody going the wrong way. We got somebody going the wrong way, and everybody just goes. They immediately abort whatever phase the landing is and just keep circling the airfield, as it were. And the guy lands, taxis back, takes off again, and he was on the wrong frequency. Almost certainly he was on the wrong frequency, made an assumption about which direction people were going, didn't hear anyone saying otherwise, so he landed his airplane. Wasn't looking.
Nope.
That was my clench moment.
Yeah. For me, it wasn't a case that we were actually in danger or anything, but it was quite an experience, especially if you spent your life flying in like airliners, stuff like that, where they go to great efforts to make your trip as bland as possible.
Yeah. Toxic, I was too busy being scared.
Yeah. But when I was a kid, I got a chance to go up in a wingding. Do you remember wingdings, Lance? Wingdings were about as basic of motorized aircraft as you could have. They weren't true. They were kind of like proto-ultralights. They were these biplane type aircraft that had a pusher engine, and they had 2 wings. They had an elevator. They had a rudder. They had this spar, which kind of passed for a fuselage, but there was no fuselage around you, and 2 seats.
It was basically two sticks in a T,
right?
With some fabric wings, and we'll add something for the tail too.
Yeah, for the tail. And you sat on this seat, and you strapped yourself in with a 5-point harness, and you had a little thing. If you weren't, of course, there was a stick. I was told not to touch the stick or anything like that. I was young, and we basically put our feet on this like feet rest, and we taxied down this runway, and then we took off and we flew into the sky, and being in my Equestria dreamscape, being a Pegasus pony, I know it's like to be flying around, just look down between your legs and go, hey, look, the world below me. Well, flying around in a wingding was an awful lot like that.
Yeah. Black Griffin has a
paraglider.
Yeah, that he built himself.
Yes, and he's put up some really cool GoPro videos of that. Is he going to be at EQLA, do you know?
I believe he is.
Okay, because there's a piece of artwork I want to get to him because it's his piece of artwork I did for him, and there's another one I want to see if I want to get finished. I want to pass along to him at that time too.
Yeah. The bus, boring, reliable, trustworthy. Relatively few buses fall out of the sky.
Exactly.
Except on those really scary roads in Bolivia.
Yes. All right. Glad you could join us.
Good night. I say les gouttes.
Les gouttes.
Yeah.
Les gouttes.
We shall see you. Yeah, say there are old pilots, bold pilots, or no old bold pilots. Well, that's true except when you're a fighter pilot.
Yes.
My dad was a fighter pilot during World War II and afterwards.
Did he fly combat in Korea?
No.
Okay.
He was doing submarine hunting by then.
Okay.
But P2s and then later P3s.
Oh, he flew the early P3s then. Okay.
It's including the one at Castle Bravo, but that's another story.
Yeah.
But if you're a fighter pilot, you have to know damn well that you are immortal. Do not hesitate. Do not doubt yourself. Do not have anything in your mind other than I am invincible. Because if you fear, you hesitate, then the other guy who is invincible will blow your ass out of the sky.
Good night, Mudfer. Glad you could join us again.
Oh, the Cessna Skymaster. Those were so funky. Pusher.
Oh, yeah. Oh, those are the pusher puller ones, the ones that they still use some for Cal CDF or fire.
Yep, push me, pull use.
Yep. They sound so weird, but they sound kind of cool, too. I always loved those as a kid.
Yeah, and the problem with aircraft of that design, the idea is you have a multi-engine aircraft that you don't have this weird offset thrust if one of the engine fails. And most of your multi-engine training has to do with how do you fly the plane when
engine's out.
When an engine out and it's keep trying to crank you off to one side. The thing is the rear engine tends to get very poor cooling, and that can be an issue.
Yep. But they were very popular with a lot of the Alaskan bush pilots.
Yeah. Oh, he might not be at EQLA. He might be at Neverwinter.
Okay.
Neverwinter Nights.
Okay.
Not Neverwinter. Neverwinter Nights. No, what am I talking about?
Wait a
Neverwinter
minute.
Nights. That's a D&D thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
good night, Muddifer. It was really, really great having you here.
See you next week. Blow torches.
Okay, no, he is going to be there. Toxic found him in a different section.
Okay, excellent. Good. Because I want to pass that piece of artwork along to him.
Yep. Yeah, Nozumi, my dad flew one of the observation aircraft that was loaded with instruments and scientists at Castle Bravo. If you've seen those pictures of all of the ships lined up, and then there's this great big kaboom, and the shockwave sweeps over the old ships. Yeah, my dad may have flown one of those airplanes. That was the nuclear test where we expected 6 megatons and we got 15. And oddly enough, radiation exposure for that ended up causing a great deal of cancer in my dad, and it eventually killed him. So our family knows about nuclear weapons.
Yeah, that was one also kind of goofed up Hawaii because it messed up some of the impulse.
Yeah, and got a whole bunch of crippled a whole bunch of ships. Radiation poisoned some Japanese sailors. Fisher sailors. Yeah, it was. We discovered that lithium-6 and lithium-7 don't act the
same way.
Those extra neutrons matter. Surprise!
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
All right. Well, we're at 9:27 here, and I've more or less got where I need to be for tonight. That actually came together fairly nice.
It did.
For about 1 hour.
It did. You've drawn that character before, if I remember right.
I think I have.
Yeah.
I think I have. So let's switch cameras here. Hey, look back at that world. Hey, turn around to actually look at my fans. And heck, they tuned in to watch me. Listen, look at them.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't see why you wouldn't.
Yeah.
You talk about dream journals.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah. To do it. You consider yourself apparently lucky. Apparently, most people don't remember their dreams.
Yep.
So I'd say go for it. Well,
I've seen it.
Yes.
Yep. We're still around Sakana. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Say, what is food tonight? So food tonight is New York steaks. Let's say mushrooms, garlic mashed potatoes, and asparagus.
Asparagus, and then Brian made me a very nice belated birthday cake.
Yeah.
An apple cinnamon bundt cake with caramel icing. Nummy nummies.
And also Evergood pineapple sausages for Catspaw, who prefers not to butcher his meat at his table.
That's because he's weird.
Yeah. It's all good.
Pro latex work as usual. Thank you, Baron. Great job. Thank you, Pink Pony. Okay. I want to thank all you folks again for tuning in. It's been wonderful having you. And to all my patrons on Patreon, thank you very much. Without your support, this couldn't happen. This is what I do for a living. For any of you new folks that are in the chat, still in the chat, if you've enjoyed this tonight, you might want to consider, $1 a month. It does make a difference. If you haven't, can't do that, you may notice a little thing called stream tip down there. Put a buck or two in the tip jar. It helps.
Call it a birthday gift.
Yeah. Call it a birthday gift.
Give him $2.
$2. If nothing else, consider following me on DeviantArt. Following me on Twitter. That's where
where the action is.
Action is. I take commissions, so if you've enjoyed this and you might want a piece of my work, consider commissioning me. That's another possibility too. Mm-hmm. And we will see you guys all next week. Next week it is
a very special hyperactive show.
Yes. So you all tell you guys. We did already did the plug, Frank. So we're good.
We are covered.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Catch you guys in 164 hours.
Yes. Good night.